Hey guys, welcome back to Pocket Saga. Today we are going to see, what if Ash became World Monarch and had Harem? This is part 2 and do check out the author of this story named Timeless Wonders by Hold On Lupin. And make sure to leave a like, share and subscribe for more. Let's get in the video. Well, looks like our special guests did arrive after all. Mayla smiled. So the group that she mentioned. Atticus trailed off. Why don't you just show yourselves and save us the trouble? Ortega asked. Guess there's no use in hiding anymore. Dendra was the first to take off the helmet and was followed by the rest of the group, with Ash taking a step forwards as the grunts surrounded them. Speak of the Devil 2.0, huh? Giacomo asked. So this is Ash Ketchum. Aerie said, clenching her fists again. The villainous trench who was meant to be a danger to us. Atticus said. Well, is always a pain in the ass to see you, Ketchum. Mayla said. You didn't have enough with stealing Charlos from me, did you? Charlos decided to come with me because he wants me to stop you. Ash answered, releasing Armarouge, who set his eyes in Mayla. He knows this isn't what you want. PFF'd. You have no idea of what we want. Mayla smirked. I can see you all care for each other and I can tell you suffered. Ash answered. But I can't let you do this. Shut up. Aerie shouted, jumping from the stage and landing in front of the group, causing the ground to shake a little. Ash Ketchum. You'll pay for taking her away from us. I'm gonna beat your ass like a RILLABOOM drum. Why a Rillaboom drum specifically? Clive asked. Maybe because she looks like one. Nemona whispered. Hey, no body shaming, Iono said. Take her away from you. Ash asked. What is going on in this place? If you want to hurt him you'll have to get through me. Dendra shouted. Alright, I'm flexible. Aerie crackled her knuckles while the rest of the grunts released their Pokemon. And as you can imagine, Ketchum. We can't let you go now that you know the plan. Mayla said as Slitherwing roared again. I have to help them. Penny stuttered, hiding behind the crowd. But then they'd know the truth. And if I help them I'd be a fully fledged traitor to Team Star. What am I supposed to do? They got us outnumbered 1-50 at least. Clive said. Don't worry about that. The 5 of us are enough. Ash said, releasing Locax, Arctibax and Sawsbuck, who joined with Pikachu, Charlos and Skulldurge. It's just like Penny told us that time, it doesn't matter how outnumbered they got us. It's not the size of the mon in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the mon. Nemona exclaimed, releasing her Pawmot, Quaxwell, Arboliva and Oinkolone. No one gets inside our circle. Iono shouted, releasing her Mismagus, Bellibolt and Kilowattrel. Like 5 stars shining in the heavens. Dendra shouted, releasing her 3 Tauros and Medicham. Let's do it then. Clive added, releasing an Oranguru. Abomasnow and Poltegeist. The battle then unfolded and the grunts were the first ones to attack while the bosses stayed behind. The fight unfolded and attacks flew left and right, back and forth. While Ash's group kept the advantage from the beginning and Penny stayed in the background, telling her Pokemon to use attacks on the grunts, Pokemon to help her friends without them noticing. The battle grew longer and Ash's team was forced to separate in order to keep track of their Pokemon, and once the last grunt was defeated each of heroes ended up facing one of the 5 bosses. Slitherwing. Use Lunge. Mayla ordered and the bug jumped to then smack down Pikachu, Skulldurge and Charlos with his tail. The trio then countered with Thunderbolt, Torch Song and Armor Cannon. But the 3 attacks were avoided and Slitherwing then attacked them all with a wild charge. Oranguru, Focus Blast. Clive ordered and his Pokemon sent an orange orb of energy towards Ortega's Daxbun. Play rough. Ortega answered and his Daxbun jumped to avoid the attack and fell over Oranguru, landing a double slash with his front paws. Ortegoon, I don't quite follow your flow. Clive said while he brushed his hair. You're the son of a wealthy family and heir of a major apparel company, why would you join a gang of baddies like Team Star? Because this gang of baddies are my only friends and the only people who understand me. Ortega shouted. And I will not let anyone talk them down. I'll be there for them because they were there for me when I needed them too. I see. Clive said. Well, if it isn't my cheap replacement. Giacomo said along his Bisharp. I think you mean your better version. Nemona answered with her Pawmot by her side. The student Kunk. Il has never been better than it is right now, though I admit cleaning your mess and random rules was quite a bother. Arg, enough talking. Come on, show me what you got. Giacomo shouted. Quieres KMPS. Via problema. No luchare contra ti mientras temas. Nemona replied. Ha. Kidding. I never say no to a battle. Bring it on. And stream start. Iono exclaimed to her Rotom phone along her bellybolt. One live ass beating on the way. Thy filthy attitude disgust me. Atticus told her along his Rivavroom, thou incorporate the whole wrong of our generation. I don't know what you're saying, but I know you're lying. Iono replied. You must be Eri. Dendra said to the muscle idol. The used-to-be star of the battle studies class. And why do you care about that? Eri asked. Because I'm the current teacher of that class and something tells me you and I would get along in different circumstances. Too bad for you that this is the current situation. Well, let's see if you're as tough as I've heard. Dendra exclaimed along her 3 Paldine Tauros, one of each breed. You think Annie can't handle 3 Tauros? Eri laughed while her Annihilipate prepared herself. Come at us. 1 Tauros is for cowards. Psychic. Clive's Oranguru raised his fan and Ortega's Daxbun was rose in the air and then slammed into the ground several times until he was knocked out. No. Ortega shouted to then slam his staff onto the floor. Why won't you people leave us alone? Who do you think you are? The name's Clive, he answered brushing his hair again. And it looks like I still got much to learn. I got a few more questions for you, Ortegoon. Clive closed his eyes for a second as he meditated only to notice Ortega had already left the scene. Well, that was quite rude. Brick break. Nemona's Pomot jumped up and then fell down with a karate chop over Giacomo's Bisharp and knocked it out completely. Arg, not again, Giacomo shouted. If we keep up like this, you'll never evolve, man. Quote, great job, pal. Nemona cheered on her Pomot. You, Giacomo shouted pointing to Nemona. What makes you think you can stop us? What makes you think I'll let you burn down my school? Nemona answered. You don't know the half of the abuse, not even a quarter of the horrible things that happened in that school. Giacomo said. If you knew you would never defend it like that. I've heard about the bullying in the past, but things aren't like that anymore. The school is a completely safe place now. It's not as simple as that. The damage is already done. Giacomo scoffed. After all, Rizando dos, Arceus nuestro, el asesino no revive su muerto. He said to then return his Bisharp and run away. Nemona simply stayed silent for a moment. Use soak. Iono's bellybolt shot down an orb of water towards Atticus' Rivavroom and caused it turn light blue, changing him to a water type. Now zap cannon. Bellybolt charged energy in his stom. ACH to then expel it out with a huge blast that knocked out Rivavroom with an explosion. Tisk, my aim is true but my mind is conflicted. Atticus said. And that's another win to Team Ketchum. Iono smiled to the camera. Don't forget to like and subscribe, fellas. You really think this win of yours represents a victory? Atticus asked as he recalled Rivavroom. Yeah, that's what a win means. Iono replied. No, you do not understand. Atticus sighed. As much as I didn't fully agree with my partner's plan, there's only one chance left to take the right stand, and that is ripping out the evil by its roots. My hand may not be steady, but I feel certain now. With this chaos will come honor, and with honor redemption. Okay, I only understood honor between all that. Iono said. But how can you even speak of honor? You want to burn down a school. A school that burned us away first. Atticus replied. But spare me the talk, I am not deterred. Ninpo Shiso no Jutsu, he shouted, tossing a white smoke bomb to the ground and disappearing from sight. PFF'd. How dramatic, Iono said. Rage Fist. Eri shouted as her Annihilipe attacked Dendra's 3 Tauros. Rage Fist. Rage Fist. She kept shouting while the 3 Tauros dodged, but the combat breed was eventually hit and knocked out. You want rage? I'll give you rage. Dendra replied. She made some fighting movements and the Blaze and Aqua Tauros stood side by side. Raging Bull. Horn passing horn. The 2 Tauros made a forward jump at the same time and rotated their bodies together while they were surrounded in water and fire. Crashing down on Annihilipe and knocking her out. And that's all. Dendra clapped to herself while her Tauros headbutted each other to celebrate their victory. No. Eri knelt on the ground defeated. I'm so sorry. Everyone. Listen, Eri, I told you, you don't seem like a bad girl at all. Dendra said, getting closer to her. If you and your friends were really the victims all this time, then you all have to go to the academy and talk it out. Talk it out, Eri shouted, standing up again and stomping the ground. That's what we tried to do for years and no one ever listened. But you know the school changed its full staff after the incident. Dendra answered. All of my coworkers are great, even Rayford, who acts a bit suspicious most of the time. I promise things will be different this time. You guys have to stop all this. What you're trying to do is simply wrong. No, we can't back down after everything that happened, Eri said, in the verge of tears. Focus, Eri. Take the anger piercing your heart and turn it into strength. There's one more thing I can do. Eri took a deep breath and made a quick spinning kick that Dendra blocked, crossing her arms. Bu. The teacher was still pushed back by it, and before she could notice, Eri had already disappeared from her sight. What in the how did I even lose someone so big? Dendra wondered, looking around. And what is that poor girl thinking to do now? Crunch. Ash ordered his Skulldurge, who tried to bit down Slitherwing, but the bug quickly grabbed him by his nose and tossed the croc aside. Iron Tail. Pikachu fell from above with his attack, but Slitherwing smacked him away with a lunge of his own tail. Icicle Crash. Arctobax shot several ice spears from his mouth, but Slitherwing broke them all with a close combat and then sent the dragon flying away with a strong kick. Bounce. Sawsbuck jumped and fell from above, but Slitherwing caught him mid-air and smacked her onto the floor. Axe Kick. Lokix jumped to attack, but he was stopped by a point-blank hyper beam from Slitherwing. Well, this doesn't look good for someone. Mela laughed while Ash returned his defeated Pokémon, even Pikachu, most to his dislike. With only Charlos left standing. Cut it off, catch him. Not even you can beat Slitherwing. Arma. Charlos shouted at her. Hey, I'll give you one last chance to give up or I'll have no quarrel at all with you two. Mela said. We're not going to give up. We can't let you do something like this. Ash said. Try and stop us then. Mela said while Slitherwing roared. That surely has been working so far. Ash, catch him. Eri ran to him and suddenly grabbed him by his neck with her right hand. Charlos tried to go and help him, but he was sent flying by a kick from Eri. So you think we're evil, right? She shouted to Ash again. You think we're just another bunch of goonies you can beat, don't you, Eri? Penny whispered with heavy breathing as she looked at the scene. Still hiding between the crowd of grunts. No, you wouldn't. It's about time you suffer like we did. Eri continued. I won't let you take this away from me. She shouted then slam Ash onto the ground while still holding him by his neck, leaving him unable to scream or grunt from the pain. I should have found you and leave your face too mangled to identify the first time Mela told me about you. I bet you think you're immortal, don't you, little legend? Well, let me tell you something, you may be the strongest trainer in the world, but you made one fatal mistake, you messed with my family. She shouted to then raise her free fist. Eri, stop. Penny shouted, coming out of the crowd to then put herself in between Eri's fist and Ash, with the fighting girl Barrel. Why having time to stop her fist before it reached Penny. Penny, get out of the way. Eri said. If you want to hurt him, then you'll have to kill me first. Penny shouted. Penny. Ash called her with difficulty. What are you doing here? I'm sorry. Penny stuttered. For everything. You'll pay for taking her away from us. Ash repeated what Eri told him earlier. You, Eri, please. Penny shouted. You've always been the kindest of Team Star, I can't stand seeing you like this. Like this. You caused this, Eri shouted to then suddenly toss Ash away, making him crash roughly on the ground. Ash. Penny shouted and tried to go and aid him, but Eri suddenly grabbed her by her hood, not too hard to harm Penny, but more than enough to stop her from moving. Eri, you want me to stop? Eri asked while Ash stood up again, albeit with difficulty while holding his neck. Then tell him everything, all the truth, let's see how much he loves when he learns who you really are. Guys. Nemona made it into the scene and was about to intervene, but she was stopped by Iono. What are you doing? Penny can handle this. Iono replied. She has to. She needs to do this. What do you mean? Nemona asked as she looked at the scene. Don't you hurt her. Ash said between coughs. Ash, everything is gonna be okay. Penny told him. She'd never hurt me. I am. Penny tried to start explaining but the words wouldn't come out of her mouth. See, you can't even admit it. Eri said. To think I used to look up to you, we all looked up to you. I know you did, but I never deserved that. Penny sighed to then look at Ash. Ash, you deserve to know the truth. I am the founder and the original big boss of Team Star. She finally confessed, earning a gasp from Ash. Eri and Nemona, while Iono let out a small smile and the other bosses along Dendra and Clive got closer to the scene. It was just a little bullying support group at first, but as the situation worsened, we had to worsen as well. We gathered all of the bullies and fought them, and we won, but after the fight was over the bullies started dropping out from the arcade. And everyone thought Team Star were the villains. I, as the big boss, tried to take responsibility and the former director Harrington sent me to study abroad in Galar in exchange for not expelling my friends as he investigated. Then I returned to start anew in the academy and I tried to forget everything about Team Star, but it wasn't the same without my friends. She continued while she began weeping. Yet a smile formed in her face. That's when I started skipping school, and then I met you, Ash, and I've been lying to you, to Nemona and to Iono, because I thought that if you guys knew the truth then you wouldn't trust me anymore, but I'm done running from my past, I'm done pretending I'm innocent in all this. I didn't just abandon Team Star, I abandoned my friends, the first people who actually supported me and cared about me. I didn't even keep contact with them while I was in Galar, and then, I suddenly tried to act like I was better than them and tell them they had to disband Team Star. As if I had the right to tell them what to do with their lives. I'm the only villain here, Ash. Eri, everyone, please forgive me. I don't. Eri let go off Penny's hood NLY to turn her around and face her while the wrestler was crying again, washing away her face paint once more. I don't forgive you, it was meant to be us against the world, we were supposed to do everything together. We were supposed to stick together, we were supposed to do anything for each other. If you had asked us to destroy the airport so you wouldn't have to leave, we wouldn't have even asked, we just would have done it. But that doesn't mean you should have. Penny replied to then look around at all the grunts staring at her. Team Star. My name is Penny, but I imagine your beau. SSES have told you about me by the name Cassiopeia. I founded Team Star and led it in our first big mission, but even that mission was a mistake. We were all consumed by vengeance after what happened to Mela. But Team Star was never about destroying what we hated, but about protecting what we loved. Please, think about what you're trying to do. There are good people in that school now, they show. Eldent pay for the things that happened before them. If we do this, then we'll become just like the people we hate so much. We'll be just as bad, just as conniving, just as evil, and just as unforgivable as those bullies. And if we behave like bullies then what is the point in winning? Don't you see? We are proud, and brave, and strong. We are good people, with good hearts, and we are all beautiful on the inside and the outside. We know this. So, why should we care about what those sad, pathetic and pitiful bullies think of us? We're better than this. I've heard enough. Atticus shouted too. Then appear within smoke bomb in front of Penny. Atticus. She stuttered. Even after all this time. Atticus took off his mask to reveal his face and look at Penny. Even after you left, they stayed truer to the anti-terrorism squad's beliefs than any of us. I have failed you. He whispered to then kneel to Penny. Please, forgive me. The Navi squad yields. Atticus shouted cross-in. His arms and all of his grunts crossed their arms as well. Thank you. Penny smiled at him and then looked at Eri again, who was still crying, now with her whole face paint washed out again. Why you see can't just. Eri stuttered, almost unable to talk. Eri, I can't change what I did in the past. Penny said. But I can change what I am now and maybe that can change what awaits for us in the future, please. Just give me one chance to make things right. Circa. CCCAPH squad yields. Eri shouted with her arms crossed and the scene repeated with her grunts. I'm tired of making this paint over and over again. I'll just get a mask. She said with a weak voice while she cleaned her tears. There's my Eri. Penny smiled again to then hug her friend and Eri hugged her as well. I'm so sorry. Of course we can be friends again. Eri stuttered. Oh my gosh. Ash. She shouted to then run at him. Hey, are you okay? Did I hurt you? Hey, don't worry, I'm fine. Ash replied. While Charlos reached to them after recovering from Aries' kick. I've been thrown harder than that, if that was needed to happen so you guys would reconcile, then I'm glad it happened. I'm really sorry about attacking you. I don't act quite like myself when I'm angry. She answered, offering a handshake that Ash took. Name's Ari Batri, by the way. Nice to properly meet you. Ash said. And you too, Atticus. The honor is all mine, Sir Ketchum. He answered with a bow. If you're worthy of our noble boss's trust, then you're worthy of ours as well. Thanks, so, nice to meet you too, Cassiopeia. Ash said while looking at Penny, who was slowly walking to him. Please don't, I'm still just Penny, your friend. She answered. I know I lied, but you had your reasons. Ash interrupted. I'm not saying I'm totally okay with the whole situation, but it's fine, and I already kinda supposed it. You what? Penny shouted. Yeah, you always seem to know a bit too much about Team Star. Ash answered. There was also that time when I heard Iono mentioning some past crew of yours, so picking up the other puzzle pieces wasn't that complicated. I just imagined it wasn't something that you were comfortable talking about, so there was no way I was going to push you to confess it. Oh, I see. Penny laughed nervously while she blushed. I knew you would tell him when you were ready. Iono said, walking into the scene and then patting Penny's back. And why did nobody tell me about this? I thought we were friends. Nemona complained while the other three laughed. So, does this mean I'm forgiven? Penny asked. Come here, you. Ash said, trapping Penny in a hug, which was then joined by Iono and Charlos. I'm still mad, Nemona exclaimed, but joined the hug either way. I love you all, guys. Penny whispered, and then hug was then joined by Ari. This feel nice, Ari said, resting her chin on Ash's head. What now? Ortega asked to Giacomo. Should we yield as well? After everything we've been through? Giacomo asked. Are you crazy? What about Mel? He asked, and the two looked at Mela, who was still on top of the stage along Slither Wing. Simple. Why, clenching her fists while looking at Penny's moment. No, Mela shouted, getting everyone's attention. I won't let you take anyone else away from me. Mela, this has gone too far. Penny show. Ted parting from her friends to then stand in front of her. You have to stop with this path of revenge. Revenge? Mela shouted. That's what you call this? After years of brutal subjugation. This is justice. Even more. What I'm going to do is not enough, so you know what? After I'm done with the academy, I'm going to go after all those bullies, each one of them. And I won't be done until I see them all on their knees begging for me to stop. I don't know how bad things were back then, but the academy isn't bad at all right now. Nemona replied. And maybe those bullies changed too. Iono added. I know you're a victim, but does bullying really justifies all this? Ash asked. So you think it was merely bullying? Mela scoffed. Do you have any idea of how much we suffered? Of what happened to me? Nah, wait. Why am I even asking? Of course you have no idea. There's no way Director Harrington would have made that public. Something like that couldn't have happened in his perfect school. So why don't I tell you my version of the story, since everyone here is opening up? She asked in a surprisingly cheerful tone while Penny and the bosses all felt their hearts stop. Mela, wait, Penny shouted. I was raped. Mela shouted out loud, and this was followed by a grim silence from the whole base. I was raped. She repeated, shrugging shoulders and trying to force a smile. No need to sugarcoat it. Darling, stop dancing around it. I was raped and no one cared, no one listened, no one understood, and the guy who attacked me told everyone that I was exaggerating. That I consented, and then everyone believed him, only cause he was the nephew of the former director. Then everyone in the school was just making fun of me. It's all part of growing up, you show. I'll be thankful that someone as important as him even looked at you. Now you only have to become her girlfriend and everything's going to be perfect. I bet you even begged him to do it. She kept talking and tears began to flow out of her eyes, mixing with her forced smile. He had been harassing me for weeks. I told the teachers, but they never listened, and when it finally happened, guess what? I was the one at fault. I bet you looked so beautiful that he just couldn't help it. It wasn't the same nonsense day after day, and as if it wasn't enough, everyone I loved turned their backs on me when I needed them the most. My parents didn't do anything about it, my boyfriend left me, the only ones that stayed with me were my friends, the anti-terrorism squad was all I had, and even then, I had to see them all abandon me one by one, first Penny, then Charlos, and now Atticus and Ari too. And all because of you, Ketchum. And I tried to go back to a normal life, okay, but now everything I love is leaving and everything I hate is coming back to haunt me and I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. Just how unhappy does this world wants me to be, huh? Well, it doesn't matter much, that's all perfect. Everyone here can leave me alone. I don't care, I'll do this on my own. So well, there's my little horror story, Ketchum, hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you don't mind me. Mela looked at the horizon and saw the morning sun starting to rise. I've got rules to break, she shouted, pulling out a heat rock that reflected the first rays of the sunrise and showered Slitherwing with orange light. Slitherwing then stood on its hind legs and roared as loud as ever while the orange light got brighter. His wings then began to grow larger and Slitherwing stood on 4 legs again to then start flapping his wings and take flight, letting Mela jump on his back. Mela, stop, Penny shouted with tears in her eyes. This isn't going to change what happened. Yeah, I don't much care, Mela answered, cleaning her own tears. As long as I can make sure it doesn't happen to anyone again. Slitherwing then started to fly away and burning scales fell off his wings, setting on fire the land they landed on. I'm taking the lead, I have to stop her, Penny shouted to then release her bombardier. Ari, Atticus, tell your grunts to put down the fire. She ordered to jump on her bird and take flight with her. Penny, wait, Ash called her to no avail. Tisk, Nemona, Iono. We're ready, Captain, Iono replied. We can't let Penny do this alone. Nemona replied. Corydon, we need a flight. Ash called him. But the dragon stared at Slitherwing flying in the distance and then took flight on his own, chasing after Penny and Mela. Corydon. Oh, come on, Iono complained. Come with us in the Starmobiles. Ari suggested. We'll take you there with no issue. Atticus added, and the two guided Ash, Iono, Penny and Nemona to the garage, while Ortega and Giacomo looked at each other and then followed them. How could something like this happen in our school? Dendra asked to Clive, who was simply staring at the sunrise. Here they are, Ari said as they made it to the garage. But they found Ortega and Giacomo blocking the entrance. Guys. El duelo comenzo, le fe ya se perdió, el bien se fragmentó quien tiene la razón. Giacomo sung with a weak tone. Not the moment. Ortega smacked him with his staff and then sighed to look at Ari and Atticus. We won't let you stand on Mela's way. Yeah, she's the big boss now. Giacomo added. And she just reminded you all why she's doing this. But this isn't going to fix anything. Ari shouted. And the consequences would be far too large. Atticus said. We cannot allow this to go on, for the well-being of everyone in Team Star. How can you talk like that? Ortega asked. How could you turn your back on her as well? Ortega and I are everything Mela has now. Giacomo said. We're not going to abandon her too. We're not gonna fight you guys. Ari said. That's a shame. Ortega replied, pulling out a luxury ball. Cause we're not gonna let those bullies return and harm more students. This is enough. Clive shouted, walking into the scene along Dendra. It's about time I intervene. You again? Seriously? Ortega asked. Who are you supposed to be? Giacomo asked. I am known by many names and take many forms. Clive answered. But right now, there's only one person who I must be. He exclaimed to then take off his student outfit and reveal himself. My name is Director Clavel, the current head of the Naranja Academy. It's always been me and you never knew. I always knew. Everyone knew. Dendra sighed. And how did you hide those pants inside the shorts? Sweet children, I had no idea that you all suffered so much. Clavel said, approaching the bosses. I truly had no clue of everything that had happened before I was appointed as the director of the academy. Those informs I received were clearly wrong. But it was also my fault for not investigating further, and I'll have you know that that letter you all found is completely false and it wasn't written by me. I promise I'll investigate this whole situation and you're all welcome to return to your studies if that's what you want, but please, stop this madness. Oh, sure, you want to investigate now. Ortega said. But you had no interest in us before. Did you? I'm afraid that's true, but that's exactly the reason why I came here incognito. I always felt like there was more to Team Star's history, and just like the young Penny said. I can't change the things that happened in the academy before me, nor can I speak for the mistakes of its old staff, but we can all try right now and forge a better future together. Now please. We have to stop poor Mela before she does something she will regret, or worse, something she might enjoy. Ruchba squad, we're going to the academy. Ortega shouted, opening the garage and turning on the Starmobiles. Second squad too. Giacomo added. Hey, thank you, children. Clavel said. Meanwhile with Penny. Mela. Penny shouted, chasing her on her bombardier while Mela was still on Slither Wing. You just don't know when to give up, do you? Mela asked. That's something I learned from you, guys. Penny answered. Brave bird, she shouted, and bombardier sped up, surrounded in light blue energy. Get down, Mela ordered, and Slither Wing took a dive to avoid the attack. Stone Edge. Penny continued, and bombardier was surrounded by sharp rocks that she flapped away towards Slither Wing. Close combat. Still mid-flight, Slither Wing quickly reacted and countered with a quick barrage of punches and kicks that sent all the rocks back to Bombardier, who opened her wings to protect Penny from the impact. But was knocked out by the attack and began to fall down. Bombardier, you have to wake up. Mela told the bird, who was unable to hear her. No. Gias. Penny prepared herself for the impact. But they were suddenly caught by Corydon, who then landed them safely. Huff. Thanks a lot, Corydon. Penny said while she returned Bombardier. But where's the team? She asked, and Corydon simply looked back. Well, they're surely on their way, but we still have to stop Mela before she reaches the academy. She said, and then Corydon lowered his head. Fine then. Penny jumped to Corydon's back and the dragon took flight with her. A few minutes later. This is it, Mela said while Slitherwing landed in front of the Naranja Academy. It's time to end this. Gias. Corydon roared and landed in front of Slitherwing along with Penny. Everybody out, Penny shouted, tossing her poke balls. Gargonicle. Florigato. Plusle. Minin. Penny's Pokemo. And all ran towards Slitherwing along with Corydon. Gargonicle used Rock Polish and he took the lead to attack, landing a Zen headbutt on Slitherwing, but the bug responded by nailing his claws onto G. Argon ACL and absorbing his energy with a Giga Drain, leaving him on the floor. Plusle and Minin both jumped on Slitherwing's back and used Discharge, but Slitherwing flapped them off with his W. Ingzen left them burned to then use Close Combat on the duo and defeated them as well. Corydon was the next one to attack, but still in his low power form he was unable to use any moves, and Slither Wing tossed him aside without much effort, making the dragon fall on top of Florigato. Guys, Penny shouted to then recall her defeated Pokemon and run to aid Corydon and Florigato. To think it all had to end this way. Mela sighed. It's just not fair. I was the one who got it the worst, and even though you were the one who turned your back on everything we had, you were still the only one who got back to normal. What about me? Where's my happy ending? Mela, you can still get your happy ending, but you have to stop this. Penny replied. How many times are you going to repeat the same thing? Mela scoffed. Slitherwing, destroy this place. Slitherwing then flapped his wings and summoned a strong burning wind. Corydon quickly protected Penny, but the wind still pushed Florigato away, leaving him to crash onto a tree that was set on fire by the same wind, while Florigato fell down to the grass under the tree, which started catching fire as well. Florigato. Penny shouted and ran to aid the cat. Are you okay? Arg, I'm so sorry, just return, I'll find another way to solve this. Flo. The cat looked up at Penny until he noticed the top of the burning tree giving in and breaking to then fall. Gato. The starter made a quick jump and safely pushed Penny away out of danger with a double kick, but the tree ended up falling on top of Florigato instead. No. Penny was about to run to aid her again, but she was suddenly tackled down by Slitherwing and the impact caused her to lose her glasses. Oh, come on, Penny complained as she tried to look around, but all she could see was blurs. While Corydon tried to run to her, but Slitherwing's attacks left him too weak to do so. Hey, don't worry about it, even when you're wearing those glasses you're totally blind. Mela said. Just give it up. I'm not going to. Penny shouted. I'm not letting you do this. Why not? Why do you suddenly care so much about this school? Mela asked. This isn't about the school. It's about you. Because I know that everything that's happening it's my fault. Penny answered. I abandoned you and our friends when you needed me the most, and all this time, I heard those bad rumors about you. But I never tried to do anything about it, I never tried to go with you and fix our friendship. Eri herself said that maybe I could have intervened when you guys decided to do this. But I thought you'd better off without me, and even then, I still wanted you to disband Team Star, without thinking for a second of what you guys wanted, and once I met Ash, that changed everything. I love him. I've grown too attached to him, I couldn't afford to lose what I had with him, but it wasn't worth losing you all. I'm sorry. As tears began flooding Penny's eyes, Mela stared at her in silence. She was about to give a step forwards, but she suddenly stopped herself. I don't want your apologies. She answered with a broken voice to then snap her fingers. Litherwing then raised one of his claws, but a green silhouette suddenly appeared in front of him and pushed it away with a double kick right on his face. What? Mela shouted. What's going on? Penny asked in fear, still unable to see anything, until she saw a green blur approaching her and then place her glasses back in her face and give her vision back. Florigato. Neon. A Meowscarada smiled at her. Why you? Look out. Penny shouted as Slitherwing tried to attack them, but Meowscarada hugged her trainer and jumped away. Wow, that's, give me a sec. Penny quickly looked for her Rotom phone and scanned the starter with the Pokédex app. Meowscarada, the magician Pokémon, with skillful misdirection, it rigs foes with pollen-packed flower bombs. Meowscarada sets off the bombs before its foes realize what's going on. Her ability has changed to Protean, her moveset has been updated, Flower Trick, Night Slash, Chilling Water, Acrobatics. Got it. Penny nodded to herself. Acrobatics. Meowscarada's eyes turned light blue as she was surrounded in a streak of wind and quickly attacked Slitherwing with a series of punches and kicks, causing Slitherwing to finally back down. Now Night Slash. Meowscarada's eyes turned pitch black and several shadows surrounded her, taking the form of a rapier sword in her right hand, a cavalier's hat in her head and a long black cape down her back. She then jumped forward and landed several slashes on Slitherwing, who tried to attack her with his claws, but Meowscarada avoided each hit and landed a huge slash right on Slitherwing's face. Slitherwing then smacked her away with her tail, but Meowscarada nailed her sword in the ground and landed safely. Arg, we don't have time for this. Mela shouted. Take flight and burn this whole place. She ordered and Slitherwing roared to then take off and fly in circles around the academy, letting his scales fall over the building and start to set it on fire. Let's go after him, Penny said, and Meowscarada hugged her again to then use acrobatics and dash on the outsides of the walls of the academy to then run all the way up until they made it to the roof. I'm getting tired of this nonsense. Mela shouted with a stomp to then get inside the academy and take the inner stairs to the roof. Let's try something else, Penny said as she activated her Terra Orb, to then toss it above Meowscarada as the crystals took the shape of a chandelier in her head. Terra Blast. Meowscarada's eyes turned bright red and her cape suddenly turned into long pink flames that elongated into the form of two whip-like tails. Here we go, Penny shouted, and Meowscarada made a high jump in the air and spun around to then use the whips and strike down Slitherwing, forcing him to fall on top of the roof. Acrobatics. Meowscarada's eyes changed to light blue again, and at the same time, her Terra crystals changed color and took the shape of 3 balloons on top of her head. Her cape then turned into 2 angelic wings and she used them to slash down Slitherwing, leaving it laying on the roof. Huff, great job. Penny smiled relieved, but Meowscarada remained on guard. Litherwing then started to growl until he let out a big roar and started surrounding itself in Terra crystals that formed a chandelier as well. He terastallized on his own mid-battle. Just like Miraidon, Penny said. Fine then. Chilling Water. Meowscarada's eyes changed to blue, put her paws together and formed an orb of water between them while her Terra crystals changed to water, but before she could make the attack, Slitherwing roared again and a fiery shockwave burst came from him, knocking Penny and Meowscarada out of the roof and expanding the fire further on the academy. Meowscarada quickly reacted and took Penny in her arms. The cat tried to use acrobatics to land safely, but she didn't have enough time and both crashed roughly on the ground, with Meowscarada losing her terastallize. And both of them falling unconscious after the impact. Just where are the damn stairs to the roof? Mela shouted inside the burning academy as debris fell all over the place she was running from. Side to side to avoid it, and as the smoke kept rising she eventually had to hide inside a classroom. Damn it all, she said to then look around and feel a pain in her chest. Out of all the classrooms, Mela walked slowly to a corner and sat there while looking down at the floor as the room around her continued to burn. I know that nothing is eternal, oh, nothing at all. She sung softly between coughs and weeps. Everything that I know will burn away, will turn to dust. We're too late, Ash said, arriving at the burning academy along his group in Team Star, with Charlos being his only Pokemon left standing. Giaz, Koraidon called him with difficulty. Koraidon, where's Penny? Ash asked him, and Koraidon managed to stand up to then run away. You go help her, we'll try to put down the fire. Nemona said along with Iono, Dendra and Clavel. Ash and Charlos then followed Koraidon, who guided them to the still knocked out Penny and Meowscarada. Penny. Hey, Penny. Wake up. Ash shook her softly until the girl finally returned to herself. Ash, she asked, looking at him, and began crying again. I'm sorry, I couldn't stop her. This is all my fault. Don't worry about that, I'm just glad you're safe. Ash said, taking her into a soft hug. But where's Mela? I'm not sure. Slitherwing went to the roof, Meowscarada and I followed him, but Mela stayed down. Then she could be inside the academy. Ash said. Oh, no, Penny whispered. Ash, a feminine voice called him. Liko, Ash said, seeing her arrive along Anne and Roy. It's not too late yet. Liko shouted. You can still save her. Who? Mela, Ash asked. Yes, there's still time, but not much. Liko continued. Anne will help you. Follow me, mister. Anne said, releasing a duat. She's in the classroom 7 to 9, but you have to be fast. Liko continued. Wait, how do you know that? Ash asked. There's no time to explain. Liko said, suddenly grabbed Ash's hands. Please, you have to trust me. All right then. Ash nodded. I'm going too. Penny said, trying to stand up. No, you're not, you're injured. Ash said. I won't abandon her again. Penny shouted to then stand up, only to fall on her nest due to the pain and the burns. Liko, Roy, please take her with the rest. Ash said. Ash. Penny tried to stand up again to no avail, and the moment before she could fall, Ash caught her with a hug. You've done enough, okay? Ash told her, brushing her hair. You did all you could and I'm proud of you, now let me do all I can. I promise I'll bring her back with you safe and sound, and then you two will have that talk you need. You better return safely too. Penny said with a sigh, to then receive a forehead kiss from Ash, leaving them both blushing. That's a promise. Ash sighed. To then leave Penny with Liko and Roy and look at Anne. We're counting on you, Ash said while Charlos prepared himself to go in too. Here we go, we only have one's chance with this, she said, taking a deep breath. Without hesitation, in the face of fear and doubt, Anne cracked her fingers along her duat. We're all in, she shouted, and duat took down a wall with a double razor shell, letting them go inside the building. While the group ran the halls of the academy, Anne was guiding the way, with her duat cutting down any debris that fell over, being acided by a terastallized Charlos using his steel-type fists. Anne, how do you know where Mela is? Ash asked. Well, Anne thought for a moment. I'm sorry, but that's something only Liko can tell you. What exactly are Liko, Roy and you? Ash asked again. Let's say we're an uneven combination. Anne said with a short laugh. Here we are, she said once they arrived to the 7 to 9 classroom. Ash hesitated a moment while he read himself for what could happen until he finally opened the door and found Mela crying in the floor. What? Mela stuttered to then look at Ash and Anne. Oh, great, just what I needed, she said, leaning her terras while still in the floor. Mela, listen, the ladder was false. Anne shouted. What? She asked. Yeah, we heard it from the director Clavel. Anne continued. Nice, that's very nice. Mela simply dropped her head on the floor. So, you're basically telling me I did all this for nothing? No, you didn't, Anne said. You were raising your voice against what you thought was an injustice. This may not have been the best way to do it, but your heart was somewhat in the right place. I'm tired of hearing lies. Mela answered with a dry voice to then roll on the floor and face the wall. Giving her back to Ash and Anne. It's gonna be okay, Mela, we'll take you out of here. Ash said approaching her. I don't want your help. Mela shouted suddenly standing up and then trying to push Ash away. But she didn't have enough strength left to do it. Just leave me here. If it has to end, then I'm fine with it being in this place. What do you mean? Anne asked. This place. Ash looked around for a moment and then looked back at Mela. This is where it happened, right? You don't know what it's like, the thoughts and the images that won't go away. Mela replied sitting on the floor again. It felt like it lasted hours. I cried for help, but nobody heard me, it was already late, and when it was over, he simply left me here and I was frozen. Unable to move a millimeter. Penny found me later that night, the squad was looking for me after they noticed I didn't make it home. Penny was my first friend ever, and she was the one who saw me like that. Laying so helpless in the floor, she was the one who comforted me and hugged me while I cried all my tears that night. Even if the letter was really false, I thought she would understand why I'm doing this. I thought you would understand. She said looking at Charlos. I raised you from an egg and look at you, turning your back on me and fighting against me. Abe, that's exactly the reason why they don't want you to do this. Anne said. Maybe it's because Penny and Charlos were the closest to you that they don't want you to do something like this. Why you're trying to answer all the pain you've been through with more pain, but that isn't going to make you feel any better, it'll only make you hurt even more. Then what I'm supposed to do? Mela shouted. Don't tell me. You're going to say I just need love, kindness, forgiveness and all that cheesy shit. Well, I mean. Anne stuttered. Yeah, why not? No, it won't be as easy as that. Ash answered and both girls looked at him. Mela, right now is the part where I'm supposed to lie to you. What? Mela and Anne asked. Yeah, this is the part when I'm supposed to tell you that everything's go. Be okay and that I can somehow help you, but the truth is, I don't know if I can. I've never met someone who's been through the things you've been through, so I'm not sure of how I can help. There might not be any form of therapy that ever takes the pain you're feeling away. Ash, what are you doing? Anne asked. But that doesn't mean I won't do anything. Ash continued surprising both girls. Mela, even if nothing's for sure, I promise I'll try all I can to help you, even if it doesn't work, even if you can't move on in the end, I won't let you throw yourself away like this, I'll keep trying over and over. But I need you to keep trying as well. For Penny, for Charlos and for everyone else in Team Star. I know this might not be what you want to hear, but at least it's the truth, so let me help you take back your life. Let me show you that the things that we did and that happened to us in the past, don't have to define what we are now. After Ash's speech, Mela suddenly bursted in tears, and tried to calm her down. But Mela suddenly ran to Ash and hugged him with all the strength she had left. Thank you, she whispered while Ash answered the hug. Anne, let's get out of here. Ash said. On it. Anne said surprised by the outcome. Hydro pump. She ordered her duot who used the move to destroy a wall of the classroom they were in. There they are. Iono said. Still in the floor with the rest of gang, seeing the trio on the 7th floor of the academy. Corydon. She called the dragon who then took flight to where they were. Ash, Mela, Anne, Duot and Ch. Arlos then all jumped to Corydon's back and he took flight again. We have to go the roof and stop Slither Wing. Mela shouted. You heard her, buddy. Ash said to Corydon and he ascended to then land in the roof. Where Slither Wing was still terrestrialized, roaring and tossing fireballs all around. Slither Wing, stop. Mela shouted at him, but the bug just roared again and surrounded himself in flames to then rush towards them. What? Mela, watch out. Ash and Anne shouted. Radon. Corydon suddenly roared and stood on his hind legs to then achieve his apex build form causing Slither Wing to stop his attack. Down. Corydon shouted with a roar as he was surrounded in orange energy and Slither Wing took a few step backs to then lower his head as it calmed down. Corydon then returned to his limited form just as suddenly and fell unconscious afterwards. Ash ran to him, but Corydon didn't seem to react so he just returned him to his master ball. Hey, buddy, it's me. Mela sighed. Dee slowly walking to Slitherwing with her net ball in hand. Thanks a lot for helping, but we're done here, please return. Look out! Anne shouted as a Corviknight descended from the skies aiming at Mela. Ash quickly took her out of the way, but this caused Mela to drop the net ball. The Corviknight then took the ball with his claws and flew to the opposite side of the roof to then land as a suit. Ed teen with black and white hair jumped off the bird. Amethio. Mela whispered. My dear Mela. He looked at her. To think we met again after all this time. You fucking asshole. Mela suddenly shouted. Wait a second. Anne stuttered. Dee don't tell me this is the guy who. What kind of person abandons her girlfriend in the hardest moment of her life? Mela shouted again. Huff, oh, thank God. He's just the boyfriend who abandoned her. Anne said relieved. I was not ready to meet the other guy. But this guy looks fly with that suit and tie. Well, thank you, I guess. Amethio answered adjusting his tie. I don't like to mess around. Slitherwing. Mela shouted and the bug ran to attack Amethio. Ricardo. Amethio shouted releasing a Ceruledge that blocked Slitherwing's attack with his swords and then pushed it away. Bitter blade. Ricardo raised his right sword and this absorbed all the flames that were surrounding the academy as it grew bigger and longer in size. The Ceruledge then jumped forward to Slitherwing and landed a huge slash that created a fiery explosion and broke the Terra crystals that surrounded Slitherwing while the bug finally fell defeated. Simple as that. Amethio said to then return Slitherwing to its net ball while Ash, Mela and Anne walked to him. I'm happy to finally see you again. Amethio said to Mela with a small smile. Like I fucking care. Mela shouted again and raised a fist but Charlos stopped her while he traded glares with Ricardo. I haven't seen you in over 3 years and you decided to show up just now and act like everything is okay. I'm sorry, I wish I'd been there to protect you, I understand how you feel. Amethio replied. But after what happened I thought you need some time for yourself. I needed you. Mela shouted. I needed you to be there and at least comfort me. But you simply abandoned me like I was some broken toy. I guess that's not completely a lie. Amethio answered. You son of A-. Mela was about to throw herself over Amethio, but she was stopped by Ash and Charlos. Mela, this isn't worth it. Ash said getting her to calm down a little. So, Amethio, right? Ash asked looking at him. Amethio ta Jalakia. But you won't need to remember that. He answered to then return his Ceruledge and walk back to his Corviknight. Hey, where do you think you're going with Slitherwing? Mela shouted. I'm Aphriod, that's none of your business. Amethio answered while his Corviknight took flight and began using Hurricane towards Ash and the girls. Do what? Anne shouted ND her starter dove down the roof with a double razor shell and made a hole for them to jump in, and quickly jumped inside the hole and Mela stared at Amethio in silence before doing the same, leaving. Only Ash and Charlos with him as the winds increased and the roof began to give in. That Pokemon is far too dangerous. Ash said. I know, that's why I'm taking it. Amethio answered. Sorry to tell you this. But you don't exactly look like someone to trust. Ash said. Yeah, you're not the first person to tell me that. Amethio replied. Now I suggest you to leave before you get blown away. You know we'll meet again, right? Ash asked. Pray that we don't. Amethio said to then jump on his Corviknight which used Hurricane again and forced Ash to jump inside the hole and fall onto a classroom. Where he found Mela crying again as Anne tried to comfort her, while the whole room shaked with the winds. Just stay low, it'll be over soon. Ash said. It's not fair. Mela shouted. Why am I always the one who has to lose everything? Quote. Mela, look at me. Anne told her. Trust me when I say that you just made a decision that will change your life forever. You didn't lose this time. You think? Mela asked. I'm sure of it. 100%. Anne smiled while the wind subsided. Now come on, let's get out of here. Ash, Anne, Charlos and Mela walked the burned halls of the academy, throat D. Ibris and cinders until they made it to the front door, which gave in and fell down the moment they pushed it to open. Outside the academy were waiting for them, Penny, Iono, Nemona, Liko, Roy, Team Star, all of the academy staff. Director Clavel and none other than top champion Gita accompanied by a group of police officers. Mela. Penny and the bosses ran to her and trapped her in a hug. Are you okay? Why you got us so worried? Penny shouted with tears in her eyes. I'm fine, thanks to these two. Mela said looking at Anne and Ash. And I'm sorry, for everything, especially to you, I screwed up too hard this time. I don't know what I was thinking. Don't worry, okay. Everything's gonna be alright now. Penny said. I'm sorry to intervene, but I have to step in. Gita said approaching the team along the officers. But she told the police to stand down with her hands. In case you don't know it, my name is Gita Omodaka, I'm the top champion of Paldea and the chairwoman and president of the Paldea League. Though I suppose the reason why I am here it's obvious. Mela Kotan, you're conscious of what you did here, right? I am. Mela answered to then look back at the burned academy. And I'm conscious that I did all of this on my own. She answered to then stared at each one of her friends and then extend her arms to Gita. You can jail me, but please let my friends go. Mela. Penny stuttered. Wait. That's not true. Ari shouted. We all. No, you didn't. Mela interrupted her. I came to the academy alone and I burned it alone, wasn't that what happened? Well, yes, but. Then none of you are at fault. Mela smiled. I'm sorry, guys, but somebody's gotta be the adult here. Well, thank you for cooperating at least. Gita sighed and the one of officers put a pair of handcuffs on Mela's wrists, while her friends looked at the situation unsure of what to say or do. I'm sorry. Gita said. Clavel told me about what happened to you and, as much as I'd like to take that in consideration, rules are rules and you broke plenty of them. I know. Mela lowered her head and the officers began to take her away. Miss Gita, wait. Ash shouted, getting everyone's attention. Please, there has to be another way. Ash, I understand what you'll try to get at. Gita interrupted him. But, not everyone deserves a second chance. You should know that. But that's the thing. Team Star weren't even given a first chance to begin with. Ash shouted. Locking them away isn't going to make any good. How can we say they're hopeless, if they've never been given a chance? You'll just make everything worse. Ash. Gita slowly approached him. Listen, this is only because you're the one requesting it, someone has to repay you for all the good you've done to the world and I'd gladly be that person, but the only other option I can think of is putting Mela under probation, that means finding someone who's willing to watch over her. But with all the bad reputation of Team Star that'd be hard too. I'll do it. Ash answered, surprising everyone. Let Mela travel with me, I'll watch over her, I'll take full responsibility of everything, but please. Don't take her to jail. You just don't want to catch a break, do you? Geta said with a small smile. If you allow me, Miss Gita. Clavel stepped in. I, as the director of the academy, would like to express my support to Ash's idea. Team Star deserves a real chance. Not saying I condone their actions, but after learning what they all suffered, what happened to Mela. I always thought that the Naranja Academy was a safe place, an example of honesty and rightfulness, but I was clearly wrong. This academy was built from tears, fear, violence, lies and sadness, and no one, ever did something about it until Team Star took a stand. They pushed out the bullies and it was because of them that the staff change happened. If the academy is a safe place now, that's because of the actions of Team Star, but even then, I feel like something like this was necessary. A way to guide the academy to a real brand new start and ascend from the ashes like a multrous feather. As the leader of the academy staff, I think I can say that we all support this idea as well. Dendra said. Just like Director Clavel said, this is a perfect chance, we'll rebuild it. And we'll turn the academy into what it was always meant to be, a true safe place where no student is going to suffer. That's what Team Star wanted, right? We'll help rebuild the school. Ari said. All of us. You're welcome to do so. Dendra smiled to her. And once we're done, you can all return to your studies if that's what you want. Clavel added. Well, Mela, we still need your opinion in all this. Gita said looking at her. But to be fair, your only two options are going to jail or staying with Ash. Mela stared at Ash in silence for a brief moment. Okay, I'll do it, she answered. Well, if everyone is really okay with this then I guess it's decided. Gita said. But Miss Gita. One of the officers called her. This is my word. Gita interrupted him with a glare. And, as such, it is beyond contestation, understood? Why yes, of course, miss. The officer answered. Very well then, I admit it'll be an interesting test. Gita said to then walk to the girl in question. Mela, you'll be under probation for 1 month in which you'll be traveling under Ash's care. If when that time is over we can tell your progress has been good enough, we'll free you of all charges. And, what if I don't meet your expectations? Mela asked. Ash will be your guardian of all people, I really doubt that'll be the case. Gita said, placing her hand on Ash's shoulder. I fully trust his capabilities. So let's not think of any possible bad ending. I still think she's evil. Penny whispered. The important thing now is that you're free. Gita said, and the officers then took the handcuffs off Mela. Ash, thank you, Penny shouted, grabbing him in a hug and pulling him away from Gita. Thank you so much. Nothing to thank, Ash said, answering the hug. I just felt like it was the right thing to do. It also seems like a good chance for you two to fully make up. That's, if you accept me, of course, Mela said in a shy tone, and Penny then ran to hug her as they both softly cried. So, did it work? Anne asked Aliko, who then held her pendant with both her hands and her eyes illuminated in green light for a brief moment. We did it. Liko smiled to then let go of her pendant. We changed it. Quote, great job, Anne, Roy told her. Hey, Anne, Ash called her as he approached the trio. I didn't even have time to thank you. I probably wouldn't have saved Mela if it wasn't for your help. You surely wouldn't have, Roy whispered to then receive an elbow strike from Liko right on his stomach. I'm glad I could help you save a life. Anne smiled to Ash. I still wonder, Liko. How did you know in which exact room Mela was in? Ash asked, and the girl started to get nervous. Well, you see, my Dartrix flew around the academy and saw her through a window. She answered. But, thank you for believing in me either way, and sorry about that awkward hug from the last time. I was just, well, really happy to meet you. I didn't mind at all, don't worry. Ash answered. Oh, please, that was nothing, Anne said. I have something better than an awkward hug. She said to then pull Ash by his arm and plant a kiss on his right cheek, leaving Ash shocked and blushed. There you have it. Oh, boy, Roy said. Anne. Liko shouted, blushing as well. What? Jealous? Anne asked. Well, you shouldn't be, I mean, you were the one who told me we'd end up becoming. Okay, I think you talked enough, Liko said, suddenly covering Anne's mouth and dragging her away. Until next time, she said to Ash. See ya. Anne smiled at him. Geez, I'm really starting to feel like a supporting character in my own life, Roy said to then follow the girls while Ash returned to himself. That was weird, Ash said. But more importantly, the room we were in didn't have any windows. He thought to then stare at Liko for a moment. At the same time the girl looked him over her shoulder to then blush and look away again. This girl, is she hiding something? Please tell me she didn't just kiss him. Iono said to Nemona after watching the scene. I'm sorry, but she just kissed him, Nemona answered with a sigh. As if it wasn't enough with Miss Dendra. This competition is getting a bit too crowded for my liking. We need to make the accord with Penny, Iono said. We have to give Ash our offer. How can you be so sure Ash is going to accept such an idea? Nemona asked. Nemo, what other option do we have? Iono asked back. Don't you want to be happy with Ash no matter what? Of course I do, Nemona nodded. And even then, don't you want me and Penny to be happy with him as well? Of course I do, Nemona sighed again. Arg, ese carajido de la flecha me si mal, why is love so complicated? Excellent question there, Iono replied with a smile. Fine, we'll tell Penny. Nemona gave in, but only after she makes up things with Mela, okay? Perfect, Iono nodded. Later that day, on the Shadar squad's base. Everything ready? Shish asked Penny along with Nemona and Iono, with Pikachu being on the latter's shoulder, being angry at Ash for returning him to his Pokeball after being defeated by Slitherwing. Yup, I got Mela's backpack right here, Penny answered, carrying a yellow bag. All that's left is waiting for her to get dressed. Don't make it sound like I take hours to do so. Mela walked out of her room wearing WHITE shorts with the same red belt she had. She was also wearing a black crop top with long sleeves and quite smaller versions of her signature red boots. Okay, I think I'm ready. You look great, Penny told her. Yeah, thanks. Mela smiled. Thanks, Ketchum. I don't think I have properly thanked you for this, so, thanks. She said looking at him. But why are you willing to go through all this trouble for me? After the things I've done. Your friends love you, Ash answered. If I knew nothing else about you, that would be enough. But either way, I think I told you enough things in that classroom, didn't I? I'll keep trying, I promise. Mela said. Then I'll do so too. Ash smiled. So, you too. Mela said looking at Nemona and Iono. Welcome to the circus, don't feel nervous. Iono smiled. Name's Iono, by the way. Pika Pie. The mouse welcomed her as well. And I'm Nemona, just in case you haven't heard of me. Oh, I sure have. Mela said. Giacomo loves to complain about you. Both in English and Spanish. Speaking of that, guess who's waiting outside for us? Penny said. Sure. Mela sighed. I guess I have to say goodbye. It's not a goodbye. Giacomo said walking into the room along Ortega, Atticus and Eri. It's just a see you later, my lady. Atticus said with bow. And we'll be in contact, you know. Ortega said. Rotom phones exist, don't be so dramatic. I'm gonna miss you girls so much. Eri said hugging both Mela and Penny and started to cry again. To think we're gonna be split up again. I feel like I should be used to this feeling by now. But I still don't know what to say, other than thanks, I think. Eri, we'll be back before you even notice. Mela said trying to calm her down. Until then, we'll start fixing some things. Giacomo said. Right. The reconstructions works for the academy start tomorrow. Ortega said. We'll update you each day about them. Speaking of updates, who's gonna lead the Shadar squad now that you'll be away? Penny asked Mela. I think we all know the perfect candidate. Mela said and the five bosses looked at each other to then smile. Carmen. They all called her. I'm here. The grunt shouted bursting into the room in less than a second. What happened? What do you need? Carmen, please take off your helmet and glasses. Mela said. What? She stuttered but quickly obeyed orders showing her pink eyes. Am I being expulsed? Did I do something wrong? On contrary, girl. Eri laughed at her friend. Carmen, you probably already heard the news that I'm gonna be away for some time, right? Mela asked. Yes, of course I have, boss. Carmen nodded. And I'm very sorry to hear that. Don't be, it really is for the best, at least that's what I hope. Mela said. I'm still learning, but the important thing here is that I need someone to look over this basin, my fellas. Why you don't mean? Carmen stuttered and then covered her mouth in shock. Carmen, would you like to be the new boss of the Shadar squad? Carmen asked and received a squeal in response. Why yes. Of course. Albeit it'd be the greatest honor in my life. Carmen shouted. I promise I won't disappoint you. I know you won't. Mela giggled. Oh, does this mean I'll get my own cool outfit? Carmen asked. Of course, I'll gladly make something unique for you. Atticus said. Great. I don't dislike this look. But the problem with being a grunt is that we all look the same. She said. You end up mistaking the coworkers, get it? Well, Mela, I think there's another someone you could use a talk with. Ash said to then release Charlos, who walked to Mela and simply looked at her. Please, forgive me for everything. Mela said. I promise everything will be different from now on. I have so many things to tell you, but I think we'll have plenty of time for that later, right? I'm just glad to have you close to me again. She held her silence for a moment. Until Charlos approached her and took her in a hug as Mela cried to them hug him as well. There, enough tears for one day. Mela said giggling. Lead the way, Ketchum. No, lead the way, Ash. She told him with a sincere smile. Follow me then. Ash smiled as well. And the endless stream continues. Iono cheered on. Síganme los buenos. Nemona added. Oh, wait, one last thing. Penny said to then look at the bosses. Stars may fall from the sky. Penny sung softly as she put a hand in the center of the group. Even when they're burning bright. Don't go quietly into the night. Jocko. Mo joined her placing his hand over hers. Together, our hope will never die. Atticus followed them. On our own, we won't hold off our demons and devils. Eri was the next one. Which is why this world calls upon us. Ortega joined them as well. To assemble. Mela ended with an even bigger smile and tears of joy. Our anthem, even after all this time, you didn't forget it. How could I? Penny smiled again. Well, what are we waiting for? Mela shouted to then quickly clean her tears and then run out the room, leading the way herself and being followed by Charlos. Second chances are really hard to come by. And I'll make the most of this one. All right, let's do it, Penny shouted following her. Hey, girls, wait. Ash followed them as well. Pasamos de una vez a la acción. Nemona exclaimed joining them. Quieres acción. Entonces toma cinco tazas. Iono shouted as well as she started recording. Let fate smile upon you, my friends. Atticus said as the bosses looked at Ash's group run. No conduzcan como mi hermana. Giacomo added. Don't forget to do lots of exercise and eat well. Aries shouted. Say the world aflame. Carmen said. Metaphorically, of course. Be safe. Ortega said. Single quote. Though I'm still not sure of how fine I am with this idea. He thought. Later that night. I'm sorry, Mela, no clue. Penny said to her with her computer in her lap showing an error message. Both girls were wearing pajamas and sharing a tent to pass the night together. Wherever Amethio took Slitherwing's net ball, I can't track its signal. I'm still worried about what Amethio could do to him. Mela said. Don't worry, we'll get him back. Penny said. But after we do so, we'll probably have to hand Slitherwing over to Professor Sada and Turo. As long as they don't hurt him, I guess that's fine. Mela replied. But after hearing what you told me about him, this feels more like the professor's fault for taking Slitherwing and his fellas out of their ecosystem in that island. That's why Slitherwing looked so lost when we first met him. He's only trying to find his place in a new food chain, you know. Quite the intelligent observation. Penny said. Hey, I may be hot-headed, but I ain't dumb. Mela smirked. But, it still surprised me to see Amethio of all people in this. Let me see something. Penny said as she started typing in her computer. His name is Amethio Tajalakia, right? Ah, yes. Mela nodded. Weird, there's absolutely nothing about him online. No social media, no profiles, not even a single picture. Well, he used to be pretty reserved. Mela said. I think that's why got along so well. Maybe, but a lot of time has happened since then. Penny said. What could he be up to now, and what does he want with Slitherwing? Speaking of that. Another thing we should investigate is who made that false letter for the bullies. This all feels like it was a trap set for Team Star. And we fell right onto it. Mela sighed. Hey, at least the truth came out in the end. Penny said. Listen, if I ever find the one who made that letter, I swear I'm gonna make him taste the fires of hell. Mela. Penny simply stared at her. Quote. Or I'll just call the police and let them handle the situation, I guess. Mela added with a sigh. Good, now let's try to get some sleep. Penny said turning off her laptop. It's been a long day after all. And remember we'll go to that food festival tomorrow. Sure. I just hope Slitherwing is doing fine. Mela said. Somewhere else in Paldea. Here it is, just like you tasked us. Amethio said in the middle of a lab with Slitherwing's netball in hand. I still wish you had called us to give that thing a beating. A green-haired man said to him. Oh, shut up, Zier. A green-haired woman replied. He said he would handle it on his own and he did so, we should praise him. Thanks, Konya. Amethio said. Now, our pay, Turo. Of course, the professor answered while taking the netball. Ash and company would have surely handed it over without asking for anything, but a deal's a deal. He said to then hand over a black case to the trio. Amethio was the one take the case and he opened it revealing a golden key adorned with a bright red fire symbol. I'll let you know if I find more of these. Turo said to then walk away and leave the lab. We'll be in contact. Experiment number 637S. Codename, Reptilata, has been retrieved. He said apparently to himself. That guy is so weird. Zier said. Never mind that, it was more than worth it. Amethio said taking the key in his hand. That's 6 down. He added to then pull another golden key from his pocket, this one having a purple ghost symbol. Konya also pulled out 2 golden keys, one with a green beetle symbol and the other with a pink eye. While Zier pulled out 2 more keys, one with a brown mountain symbol and the other with a black evil grinning face. We got fire, ghost, bug, psychic, ground and dark. Zir said. And as far as we know, the tacklers still have only 4, water, rock, normal and flying. Konya added. So we still have the advantage. It also means there's still 8 keys left to be found. Amethio said. Aside from those 4 keys that we have to take from the tacklers and the central piece which we still haven't located. But once we find it and when we get the 18 keys, this region will be in for a wild ride. Zir said. The greatest treasure of Paldea is right there waiting for us. Konya said. There's no time to lose then. Amethio replied. Yeah, but what about that Ketchum kid? Zir asked. You think he could get in the way? Konya asked. I'm just saying he has experience dealing with, well, people like us. Zir answered. Well, he didn't look impressive at all, I must say. Amethio answered. And he doesn't even know anything about the Terra keys or the treasure, and even if he somehow finds out, we'll just have to wipe him out like we've done with the others that have tried to stop us. Oh, yeah, I'm going to make it as painful as possible for him. Zir said. And his little girlfriends. Konya added. His girlfriends are involved too. The girlfriends also, we got to get the girlfriends. His little girlfriends, huh? Amethio asked. Mela, you just picked the wrong side. He thought. A pink-haired young woman suddenly opened her eyes while she was sleeping in her bed wearing pink pajamas. Her breath got heavy for a moment but it quickly returned to normal. She then got up and grabbed her Rotom phone from a desk. September 15th. She said, reading the date. The girl then slowly walked to her bathroom and washed her face to then stare at her reflection in the mirror. It wasn't my fault, she said to herself to then close her eyes and take a deep breath. But once she opened them again, her reflection was replaced by the image of a young Nurse Joy giving her a worried look. It wasn't my fault, the pink-haired woman repeated to then take a hairbrush in her hand. It wasn't my fault, she shouted to then slam the hairbrush onto the mirror and break it into pieces, but now each of those pieces showed her the young Nurse Joy, causing her breathing to get heavy again. It wasn't my fault, it wasn't my fault, she shouted while holding her head. Molly. A voice called her from outside the bathroom while knocking the door. Hey, it's me, Orla, everything okay? What was that? I'm fine. Molly answered while she trembled and looked at the pieces of the mirror, which only showed her reflection again. She then walked to the door and opened it to see her friend, who quickly noticed the broken mirror. Sorry about the mess, I'll clean it myself, don't worry. Nightmares again? Orla asked and Molly simply nodded to then walk away. Hey, you know you can talk that out with us, right? I doubt that'd make me feel any better. Molly answered. But, today marks a year, that's as much as I can tell you. She said to then leave the room. Some minutes later. So, a year, but a year since what? I don't know, Murdoch. Orla answered to the chef. But those nightmares of hers have been growing more and more frequent and she doesn't want to tell me what they're about. How am I supposed to help if she just walks away to avoid the conversation? Maybe she doesn't want that kind of help. Murdoch said. Perhaps all she needs is some time for herself. There's nothing wrong with being alone. I know, but she seemed really disturbed. Orla incited. Whatever happened, it seems like it was pretty bad, and if today really marks the anniversary of what happened, I think I'll stay here to keep an eye on her. You don't mean she could? Murdoch pointed at his neck. What? No. Orla shouted. I'll just try to convince her to talk it out. I told you, Orla. It's not a good idea to push her. I just want to help my friend. Orla shouted again. And I just want you to understand that this may not be the best way to do it. Murdoch shouted back. And what do you know about helping people with their problems, huh? Orla shouted. Why do you think Dot is always locked in her room? Why do you think she doesn't even talk with you anymore? You leave my niece out of this. Murdoch shouted, slamming his fist on the wall. How's the spirit, team? Fried asked, arriving in the kitchen, only to find the two crew members staring angrily at each other. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, what's the matter? Molly's the matter. Orla answered. She's been feeling really down and I just want to help her. Maya. And while I'm telling her that maybe Molly just want to handle it on her own. Murdoch replied. What do you think would be the best, Cap? Well, I don't think I'm in the right to decide such a thing. Fried answered. Why don't you just ask Molly directly? Thanks a lot for speaking about me behind my back. Molly said, suddenly appearing next to them. Gah! The three shouted. Sigh. Listen, guys, we're pretty much family. Molly told them. You all have no idea of how grateful I am for everything, and thanks for worrying about this too, but this is a topic I'll keep for myself, at least for now. Fine. Orla sighed. It's your choice, I guess. Thanks. So, Murdoch. Molly looked at him. The food festival you've been mentioning is today, right? Yup, I was just doing the final preparations. He replied. Orla will come with me to help me with my stand, we'll be ready to leave in like half an hour. I'll go with you too. Molly said, surprising the three. You sure? Murdoch answered. I mean, you're the one who's been saying it was a bad idea for weeks. I know, sorry about that, but maybe this will help me clear my head. Molly said. Sounds like a great idea. Fried said. Ludlow. Dot and I will be taking care of the brave Asagi, you all go and have fun. Right, then Murdoch stopped when his Rotom phone suddenly ringed. Oh, hang on. Are you serious? He shouted, reading a message. What is it? Fried asked. Nothing that bad actually. Murdoch admitted. This is from the group chat I made with the other stand owners who will be in the festival. People from all the regions will be there, but apparently, due to an order Chairwoman Gita gave just now, 75% of all earnings from the festival will go to the Naranja Academy. What? Fried shouted. But you told me it would only be 25%. That was the plan, but it looks like after the fire they need extra money to help rebuild it. Murdoch said. What a joke. Fried complained. The league has enough money to rebuild 35 academies, but instead they want to leave it to the poor. Don't act like you're some kind of social justice warrior. Orla said. Does that mean we aren't going then? Molly asked. No, of course we're still going. Murdoch said. It's not like I can't just back down after all these preparations, I already made all of that curry. Come on guys. At least the money will be used in a good cause. Orla told them. It isn't always about the money, let's do it for the funny. Fine, let's finish everything to take off. Murdoch said. Let's make it showy. Molly said, raising a thumb. Hey, that's my catchphrase. Fried complained. Go and patent it then. Molly replied. Meanwhile in the food festival. Your eyeballs are mine, caught in my electroweb. It's Iono, the super CHAA-arged streamer. She exclaimed while recording herself with her Rotom phone as usual. Welcoming here a new member of the Ketchum team. Say hello to Mela Kotan. I never agreed to do this. Mela replied as the Rotom phone focused on her. Welcome to my life, Penny said. So now we got a 5-man team, isn't that lovely? Iono asked to the camera. Well, today we are in the annual Paldea Food Festival. And I came up with a very interesting game. There's plenty of different food stands and we have plenty of different girls here, so this is how. Our game is going to be, Ash will take turns to take Penny, Nemo and me on dates, each going to a different stand, the rest of us will be watching from afar but we cannot, must not, will not interfere. And once all the turns are done we'll have a little recap and Ash will tell us which one of the 3 feet dates he enjoyed the most. Hey, guys, I'm here too. Dendra shouted, running at the group will. Wearing a black kimono with golden details. Dendra, I thought you wouldn't make it. Ash greeted her and the woman hugged him. Oh, please, I wouldn't miss it for the world. Dendra answered. I come to this festival every year. And aside from it feeling as my responsibility to support the academy as a teacher, I really wanted to spend some more time with you, it's a win-win situation. Looks like it is. Ash replied. I did agree to have a date with you, so, I guess I didn't have much time to process it back then with all that was happening, but, you said you liked me, didn't you? Why yes, I guess I did. Dendra replied while blushing to then separate from him a bit. It was a pretty straightforward confession, wasn't it? Well, I wouldn't know. Ash answered, blushing as well. That was the first time someone actually confessed to me. I was your first confession. Dendra shouted with a massive smile. Okay, enough. You'll get your turn later. Iono shouted to then poke Dendra's breasts. And what's with the kimono? Oh, well, that's actually the reason why I'm so late. Dendra answered. I came here earlier in my usual clothes, but I felt like it was a bit too simple, and then I saw this girl with this green kimono and she looked so gorgeous, and then I remembered I had this old stuff in my closet, so I returned home, and surprise. It still fits. Barely. Iono said, staying at the woman's chest. You look amazing, Dendra. Ash said. Ah, thank you. She answered, blushing again, and tried to hug Ash again, but was stopped by Iono. Let's just get this started. Iono said. Penny, you go first. I do. Penny asked. Yup. The rest of the gang, follow me. Iono said, to then start to walk away. Let's give them some privacy, while I record everything to then post it online. So, where do you wanna? Ash was about to ask, but he stopped when Penny timidly squeezed his pinky with her hand. Well, we're finally alone, since that first week of our travel. Penny said. I may not always agree with Iono's ideas, but this is something I was actually looking forward to. As Penny talked, Ash noticed her grip of his pinky gradually moved to take his whole hand, and Ash squeezed in return, leaving them both with a blushing and smiling face. Yes, this is good. She continued. A friend of mine from Galar is, here in Paldea, and she has a stand in the festival, maybe we can go there. Of course, lead the way. Ash told her, and the blushing Penny squeezed his hand tighter to then guide him to the stand. So cute. Iono exclaimed while they watched everything. I knew those two were up to something. Mela added. I'm glad to see Penny finally overcoming her shyness. Dendra said. Nemona simply stared at them in silence. A few minutes later. And here we are. Penny said once they made it to the stand. Wait a sec, team yell. Ash asked, seeing two grunts wearing aprons. Welcome to the home of the best Galarian chocolates. One of the grunts said. Now, please, somebody, anybody, everybody yell to greet our supreme leader, head chef and straight-up goddess, Marnie Stingers. Guys, she complained while wearing a pink dress and a black apron, with her Morpeko and a mawile by her side. I told you to stop it with that introduction, I'm really sorry, Penny. And Ash. Marnie. Ash exclaimed. Hey, yeah, Marnie here is Giacomo's sister. Penny said. I got to know her a lot while I was studying in Galar, and we've been in contact since I returned to Paldea. In fact, I first knew you because of your battle against her. I was there in the stands. You were? Ash asked, surprised. But you never told me about that. Penny, you girl. Marnie jumped over the counter of the stand and went to hug her. I'm so happy to see you. Same here, Penny replied. Giacomo told me everything that happened yesterday. Marnie said. I'm honestly still in shock, but I'm so glad you're all safe. Thanks, Penny replied. Also, I see you're smiling a bit more than usual. I guess you can thank him for that. Marnie said, glancing at Ash. Me? Ash asked. Yes, you, silly. Marnie said, to then approach him. I've been wanting to call you, but I guess I couldn't build up the courage. Thank you so much. After our battle, lots of people have been joining me to support Spikemouth. Many visitors have come over, and I've gotten plenty of new fans all over the world too. In fact, our battle is the third most viewed from the lastest season of the PWC, only behind your TLE against Leon and your third battle with B. Everyone has been asking like crazy for us to have 6 vs 6. Well, you're welcome then. I'm happy to know I played a part in things getting better in Spikemouth. Ash replied. And of course, we can have that 6 v 6, just tell me when and where. Hey, don't worry, there's no pressure, I wouldn't want to interrupt your gym challenge here in Paldea. Marnie said. Though I wish you had also done the Galar one, maybe you and I could have gotten to know each other better. We can still do that. Ash replied. I do want to know you better, so, wait, you're from Paldea? Not at all. I was born in Galar. Marnie answered. I've spent most of my life there, but of course I come here to Paldea a lot to see Momo, and I know Spanish too. Team Yell loves when I speak it. Me llaman la líder de la manada alicata y deserbrada, get it? I see. Ash said. Either way, if we really want to know each other better, this seems like a good starting point. Marnie said, to then return to her stand and return with a bag of chocolates. Here, this one is on the house, Ash, as a thanks for the amazing battle and all your help. I told you, there's nothing. Gee, Ash was about to take the chocolates, but Marnie suddenly grabbed him by his wrist and pulled him closer to her so their faces would meet. Hey, I really mean it. Marnie insisted, giving him a warm smile to then glance at Penny. Noticing she was refusing to let go off Ash's hand. Well, enjoy the chocolates. I'll call you later, Ash. Thanks. Ash stuttered and Marnie let go off his wrist only for Penny to drag him away. Well, that was a bit unexpected. Ash said. Yeah, unexpected, sure. Penny sighed to then sit on a bench alongside Ash while they were still holding hands, and Ash tried to open the bag with his free hand. Perfect, just perfect, Penny thought. This was supposed to be my chance. It's the first time we've been alone in months, and it's not like I dislike being with the girls. But Ash finally knows the truth. I just wanted to make some progress. I really liked that forehead kiss, but what am I supposed to do now? Marnie totally stole the moment. Of course she likes Ash too. What was I thinking when I took him to her stand? A and then she grabbed him like that. She would have totally kissed him if I hadn't been there. How do these gills get so assertive? I can barely hug him and I'm losing my head just from holding his hand. Hey, Penny, here. Ash called her back to reality. The girl saw him with a chocolate in his hand. Say Penny shouted, blushing so much that her glasses got foggy. Come on, don't leave me hanging here. Ash insisted. Sure. Penny slightly opened her mouth, still blushing madly, and softly gave her the chocolate. While Penny then closed her mouth and processed the whole situation as she ate it. Once she was done, she took one of the chocolates from the bag and offered it to Ash in the same way, repeating the scene with him. Although Ash wasn't blushing as much as her, while both laughed at their reactions, Ash took a third chocolate from the bag. Penny stared at it for a moment to stare at Ash and back to the chocolate, and in an unexpected move she took both the chocolate and Ash's index finger in her mouth. Penny? Ash asked, being surprised again, this time from a soft bite in his finger while Penny stared directly at him. Penny, you. Ash found himself unable to talk only until Penny finally opened her mouth to let go his finger, not without giving it a quick lick as it left her mouth. Penny then sat on Ash's lap and placed a hand on his shoulder to push his back to the bench while she was still holding his other hand. I like to see you blushing for a change. Penny grinned at him. Ash, do you think I'm pretty? Of course I do. He answered. And why did you stutter that? Penny asked while her face saddened. Penny. By mere instinct. Ash placed his free around her waist and pulled her even closer to him to the point their noses touched each other. You're beautiful, and I don't want you to doubt that for a second. Really? Penny asked with a small smile to then giggle. Even though you thought I was a boy when we first met. Well, wouldn't be the first time I make that mistake. Ash answered, embarrassed. That's some kind of boyish charm you have. I guess. Ash. She stared at him deeply for a moment. You got chocolate in your lips, do you want me to lick it? She bluntly asked, making them both blush to their limit. Who are you and what have you done with my Penny? Ash asked. Your Penny? She asked with a wide smile. I like how that sounds. Well, I just mean. Ash stopped talking once. Penny placed her free hand in his cheek and started to caress it. I love you, she whispered a mere breath, but Ash heard her loud and clear. I love you so much, she continued as her body leaned even more towards his. Their foreheads now touching and their lips were a few centimeters away, with the feeling of each other's breath getting them even more nervous and excited. I'm sorry it took me so long to tell you. Penny whispered again as they both closed their eyes. End cut. Iono suddenly shouted, and both Penny and Ash stopped what they were doing to see her coming out of a bush while blushing madly alongside with Mela, Dendra and Nemona, although the latter seemed rather angry with the situation. Okay, that was a pretty good session. Iono continued. But, Wi-Fi is expensive. And we have a lot of ground to cover, so let's move on. Penny stared at Ash for a moment and then looked around while her mind made a recap of the things she had been doing those last minutes. And as the rewind was done, she simply blushed to the point her glasses got foggy again, to then get off Ash and finally let go off his hand to hide both her hands inside the pockets of her jacket. Ash, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to me. Hey, it's fine, you just surprised me a tiny bit. Ash answered. Or a big bit, actually. Okay, it's my turn now, Iono said, grabbing Ash's arm. I thought about using my streamer clothes, but I'll stay with the casual to make the date more comfortable. Now, come with me, I know the perfect stand we can go to. Sure, on it. Ash said to then look at Penny again. While the glasses girl simply kept blushing and looked away, so Ash approached her and planted a soft kiss in her cheek, leaving Penny in the verge of fainting while the other 4 girls' jaws dropped. I said I was surprised, I never said I didn't like it. Ash winked at her. Okay. Fine. I'll be burrowing our friend. Iono shouted to then drag Ash away. You okay? Mela asked Penny. I don't feel my legs. Penny answered. I don't feel anything besides my bumping heart for that matter, and I still can't believe I did those things. What did just come over me? Oh, well, I hope Ash and Penny enjoyed those spicy chocolates. Marnie said to herself. Later. Welcome to my sweet little bakery, Iono. Miss Katie. Teddyursa. Good to see you again. Iono greeted the woman in her Pokemon. Holy Mew, those are even bigger than Dendras, anyway. I suppose you know my friend, Ash. Of course I do, I've heard lots of things from the other gym leaders and I've seen some of your streams too. Nice to meet you, sweetheart. Nice to meet you too. Ash answered. So you're a gym leader too, right? You bet. Name's Katie Araceli, bug-type gym leader of the Contorto gym. Though I'm not surprised you haven't heard of me, everyone says I'm the weakest gym leader, a total pushover, a massive failure, among other things. She said to then look at the floor. Well, it's not like those are lies, but that's because most of challengers are beginners and I don't want to be rough on them, you see. I'll probably be the easiest battle you'll ever have. Don't look down on yourself so much. Miss Katie. Ash said. If you give it your all I'm sure you can give me a real challenge. You really think so? Katie asked with a light blush. Why, thank you, I'll be looking forward to it. So, this is one of your videos, right, Iono? It is, and now you're part of it. Iono replied. Oh, that's great. Katie replied. Your fans are heads to be fed, then we better get them all fed. Yup, we won't leave any appetite unwet. Iono nodded proudly. So we'd like 2 slices of your finest cake. Very well, give me a second, Teddyursa. Katie looked at her Pock. Emin who nodded and then jumped down the counter to quickly return with 2 plates that had 2 slices of green velvet cake with cream frosting. Here you go, dig in, lil ones. This one on the house is a thanks for the cheering up, Ash. I promise I'll train a lot for our battle, I won't disappoint you. Thanks a lot, Miss Katie. Ash replied. I'm sure we'll have an amazing battle. And now, to the bench. Iono guided Ash to the same bench he was with Penny and they sat together. While Iono instantly closed her eyes and opened her mouth, she stayed in that position for around half a minute and she felt nothing happened, so she opened her eyes to see Ash with an embarrassed expression in his face. Well, I'm waiting. Sorry, but after what happened with Penny of all people, I'm afraid things could get out of control with you. Ash answered. Arg, I know I should have taken the first turn. Iono complained. Please, Ash, I promise I won't do anything. Fine. Ash sighed to the end, take a spoonful of his cake and offer it to Iono. Open up, he said, and Iono opened her mouth again to let Ash feed her. Delicious, she exclaimed while munching. Now my turn. Iono took a spoonful of her cake and offered it to Ash with him eating it as well. See, totally PG. She added, and they continued to take turns to feed each other, but by Iono's 5th turn she stopped herself. What's wrong? Ash asked. Nothing, this is cool and all, but a bit too monotone. She answered. I wanted to do this because you did it with Penny first, but I still think I should give it my own style. And what's your idea? Ash asked, and Iono stared at him for a second to then grab a handful of her cake and toss it to Ash's face. It's a bake-off. Oh, it's on. Ash answered, cleaning his face to then toss a piece of his cake to Iono's face. The two then got off the bench and began tossing cake to each other as they both laughed out loud. Half of the people walking around the festival gave them weird looks while the other half smiled at the scene. Ash and Iono continued their fight until they were both left with a final handful. Finish him, her. They both shouted, running at each other. Ash then tossed his cake, but Iono avoided with a pirouette and then jumped to squash her cake right on Ash's face. I won, Iono exclaimed while they both laughed and tried to clean themselves. Until Ash made a quick movement and hugged Iono by her waist to then lift her in the air and spin with her, while Iono hugged him by his neck, and the duo just kept laughing. Ash, put me down, Iono told him between jiggles. What for? You seem to be happy up there. Ash answered, laughing as well. Every moment I spend with you make me happy. Iono said, hugging him closer to her. Ash, you don't know how grateful I am for meeting you. For finally getting someone who cares about me as a person and not just as a streamer. You were the first person to actually do that for me. I thought I could ever find someone to rely on because of my status, but I found it with you, and I love because of that. Iono, you have no idea of how much I love you. She said, grabbing both his cheeks. Hey, that took me long enough, didn't it? Well, I won our lil fight, don't I deserve a prize? She smirked to then lock her legs around Ash's waist while he was still carrying her. Iono, why you do remember we're in public, right? Ash stuttered. PFF'd, let them mind their own business. Iono giggled again. Pretty please, it's a bit too late to shy away, don't you think? Well, if that's how you wanna play. Oz smiled at her again and placed their foreheads together. Both were blushing because of the contact. The two stared deeply into each other's eyes for some seconds until Ash bro. K the piece and pulled out his tongue to then lick cake of Iono's cheek, leaving the girl paralyzed and blushing to her limits. Why you just licked me? She stuttered. Don't tell me this lil dish I have here can't take a licking. Ash said with a sly smile. Why you just called me a dish? Iono just kept blushing and smiling as some drool came from her mouth and the pupils of her magnemite turned into hearts. What's this? Some of it fell on your neck. Ash whispered to her ear. My what? Iono shouted a second before Ash softly licked her neck and she quickly covered her mouth to stop what would have probably been a moan. That's not fair. I'm supposed to be one teasing you. Iono trailed off between small pants and giggles while she almost got lost in a trance and Ash simply smiled at her reaction. But I think some of the cake also fell on my chest, so. End cut. Penny shouted, coming out of the same bush from earlier, along with Dendra, Nemona and Mela, all of them blushing even harder than last time. Hey, I'm the middle of something here. Iono complained. Well, I was in the middle of something too and you interrupted me so we're even. Penny replied. Those were totally different situations. Iono shouted. Sorry, Iono, I think I exaggerated. Ash said, slightly embarrassed as he put her down. What? No. Exaggerate again. Exaggerate like that every single day for the rest of our lives. She shouted, grabbing his cheeks again. Sorry, but you said we had a lot of ground to cover, didn't you? Penny continued. It's Nemona's turn now. Sigh, fine. Iono said and Ash finally put her down. Well, where do you wanna go, Nemo? Ash asked her and Nemona simply stared at him in silence and walked away with her arms crossed. Ash looked at the other girls and they shrugged shoulders, so he decided to simply follow Nemona. Ash and Nemona walked through plenty of stands around the festival. Ash thought some of them were interesting, but none seemed to get Nemona's attention as she continued with her arms crossed, without making eye contact or talking to Ash. Hey, Nemo, what's the matter? Ash asked and she simply pouted. Hey, Ash, Nemona. Someone called them from a stand. Vault and Veluza. It's actually not a surprise to see you two here. How are my battle and food-loving challengers today? Mr. Kofu. Nice to see you too. Ash lied as both Nemona and him approached the stand. Haha, indeed, very nice to see you too. Kofu answered. But where's Penny, huh? Well, it's a bit complicated to explain. Ash replied. Let's say we're playing a game. I had a turn with Penny earlier and now I'm with Nemona. Well, how about I play too? Kofu asked. Sure, how about some sushi, Nemo? He asked and the girl was still arms crossed and refusing to look at him. I guess that's a yes. Here's the menu then, Kofu said and Ash received it. I'll take the Magikarp sushi. What about you, Nemo? Ash asked and the girl suddenly took the menu off his hands and pointed another type of sushi in the menu at Kofu, but Ash couldn't see which one was it. Well, here you go then, go to one of the tables and enjoy. Kofu offered them 2 plates of the sushi they picked. Ash paid for them and they both went to a table, sitting in opposite sides of it. Nemona was finally looking at him directly, but she still had her arms crossed with a pretty angry face. Nemo, come on. I may have aura, but I can't read minds. Ash said. Just tell me what troubles you. I want a forehead kiss. She suddenly shouted, slamming her fists in the table. You what? Ash asked. I want a forehead kiss. She repeated. Iono showed us that picture of when you kissed her forehead that night we met Corydon, and now Penny told us that you kissed her forehead yesterday. And today you've been getting all lovey-dovey with those two. What about me? You're really so angry at me because of that? Ash asked. Maybe. Nemona sighed. Sorry about the drama. I'm really happy with being your traveling companion and battle partner, but I can be more than that. I'm tired of everyone thinking I'm just a dumb battle-loving girl. I don't want you to think that too. She shouted to then nail her sushi with the chopsticks and eat it a single bite. Whoa, Nemo, easy there, Ash said worried. Don't you tell me how to eat, hick. Nemona replied, suddenly having hiccups. This all your fault, hick, for being so kind and thoughtful and charming and handsome. You're always inspiring me to become a better person because I still feel like I don't deserve you, hick. Nemona continued shouting and having hiccups, and then those things were suddenly joined by weeps. Why yo te amo, si. Te amo mucho y quiero que sepas que nadie te amará como yo. En Nemo, you, What kind of sushi did you ask for? Ash asked, slightly dumbfounded. The auxiliary one, hick. She answered. The one that comes with ink. Isn't that alcoholic? Ash asked. Hey, I'm 20. I'm allowed to drink. She answered. Besides, it's not alcoholic, just a bit toxic, hick. Alright, Nemo, I think you have to lay down a bit. Ash told her. Great, I ruined our date. She sighed to then slam her face in the table. Ouch. She complained to then start to jiggle. Perdi mi mano derecha y mi dul todavía. Ha 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 ha. Nemona kept laughing until she finally fell off her chair and continued to laugh on the floor. Alright, enough. Ash shouted. Nemona Xantho, I want you to put yourself back together this instant. Leave me alone, sis. She shouted. I told you, I don't want anything to do with the company. I want to become a trainer and make my own path. No es ganar o perder. Solo hay que saber que camino seguir. She exclaimed to then cry again. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to disappoint you. But this is what I want. Nemo. Ash tried to approach her. And what if I don't want to be normal? Nemona shouted out loud, opening her eyes again to then look around. Ash, it's you. It's just you. She smiled at him to then cry again. See, can I have a hug? Nemona crossed her arms to hug herself as she kept crying in the ground. Ash, quick. Lee reached out to her and brought her in a tight hug. Nemona then answered the bug and cried on his shoulder for a few seconds until she fell asleep just as sudden as the outrage started. Ash then softly planted a kiss on her forehead and he could feel Nemona hug him tighter in her sleep. The girl then let out a yawn and woke up again to look at Ash. Sorry about that, I'm back. She said, speaking normally again. I didn't do anything embarrassing, did I? You don't remember? Ash asked. No, my mind kinda blocked itself. She answered while she blushed again. Last thing I remember was telling you that I love you. And then nothing. I see. Ash thought in silence about the things that Nemona was shouting. Nemo, you know that if anything troubles you, you can talk about it with me and the girls, right? Of course I know, silly, that's what friends are for. She smiled again and Ash gave a half smile, still worried about the things that Nemona said. So, if you don't remember anything then that means. Ash softly placed his hands on Nemona's cheeks, cupping her face to then give her another forehead kiss, leaving her blushing even more. I think I owed you that. You may be a dumb battle-loving girl, but you're my dumb battle-loving girl. Y te quiero con limón y sal, tal y como estás. He talked, leaving Nemona gasping and with stars in her eyes. She then threw herself over Ash to catch him in a strong hug and kiss his cheek as much as he could. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I love you. Te amo. She exclaimed while she continued to kiss him and the movement ended up with her pinning Ash to the floor, while Nemona sat down on his lap and placed both hands in his wrists to keep him down. How did we end like this? Ash asked. Hey, don't forget I'm the adult here. Nemona grinned to then plant a kiss on Ash's bottom neck while her breasts pressed onto his chest, leaving Ash without words again. There, I think we should cut this now. She whispered. But that's only because I don't know much. I'll be able to control myself while we're in public, but the next time we're alone you and I will give this a follow-up, got it? She stared at him in the eyes, and all that the blushing Ash could do was nod. Good. Nemona smiled to then get off him and stand up to then help Ash do the same and plant one last kiss on his cheek. Alright, we're done, girls. Well, that was pretty intense, Dendra said, coming out of a different bush along with Iono, Mela and Penny. It's my turn now, right? The teacher asked. Yup, he's all yours, Miss Dendra. Nemona replied. Great. Dendra adjusted her kimono and then went to grab Ash's hand quite confidently. Let's have some fun, she exclaimed while she thought. I really hope this works. Last night. So basically, since we couldn't have that cooking lesson because of what happened with Team Star, Ash invited me to go with him to the food festival. I guess it'll be kind of a date. But the other girls that travel with him are gonna be there too, so I'm not totally sure about what I should do. Should I just try to drag him and keep him to myself? Or should I cover my intentions and just spend time with him along the other girls? I'm just not sure. Well, that's always been your problem, Dendra. Tulip answered while she put on some makeup on herself. You're just never sure of you. You're never sure of what you want to do. If you really want to have an opportunity with Ash, then you have to be confident, especially with all the competition you've been mentioning. You have to believe you're his best option and then he'll believe it too. I guess that makes sense. Dendra sighed. I know I'm a mess, but I just get really nervous when I'm with him, partly because of our age gap. Oh, come on, that again? Tulip asked. Dendra, you said it yourself, he's already an adult. And most importantly, he accepted your invitation to a date and then invited you himself, right? Well, yes. Dendra nodded. Which means he doesn't mind the age at all. Tulip said. So you shouldn't either. HMMP, alright then. Dendra bumped her fists. You're right, Tulip. I have to stop doubting myself so much. My name is Dendra Quijada. And Ash Ketchum is going to be my boyfriend. That's the spirit. Tulip cheered on her. And you better keep up on that, because if you fail I'll take him for myself. Yeah, Wait, what? Dendra asked. Of course. Tulip smiled. Like, come on, you know better than anyone that everyone who has tried to court me so far have been men who only care about my money, status or mere outer beauty. A young honest man like Ash is exactly what I need, and the fact that I'm lending him to you is probably the biggest proof of our friendship. So that's why you asked him to come to my class? Dendra asked. You knew I'd end up falling for him too. Perhaps. Tulip winked. But who knows how this will all end. Ash has 2 hands after all. 2 hands. What do you mean? Dendra asked. You'll get it later. Back in the present. I still don't get that. Dendra thought. So, where are we going? Ash asked her while the two were still walking around the festival. Have you met Sawaro? She asked. He's the home economics teacher of the Naranja Academy and a really skilled chef. Right, you mentioned that you took some cooking lessons with him. Indeed, so. We'll go to this stand which is, right there. Hello, Dendra. He greeted her. And a friend, I see, Ash Ketchum, the legend in the flesh, a pleasure to meet you. Likewise, Mr. Sawaro. He answered. You know, Dendra, I was actually expecting you to show up. Sawaro said. I got a call from Tulip and she mentioned you'd be coming to the festival with a date. Of course she did. Dendra sighed. Thought I'll admit I was expecting you to come with someone a bit more within your age range. Sawaro continued. Great, I just got fancily called a pedophile. Dendra replied with blank eyes. Sorry if my words were a bit rough, it's not like I'm trying to judge you. Sawaro said. Well, I don't mind if Dendra is a bit older than me. Ash spoke out. Having her around is really great. Hey, there, don't make me blush in front of my coworkers. Dendra replied to then softly punch his shoulder, causing them both to laugh. Bueno, es el amor lo que importa y no lo que diga la gente. Sawaro said. Don't you dare sing that. Dendra told him, raising a fist. We barely have a 7-year difference. Well, sorry, as an apology, this one is on the house. Sawaro turned around for a moment to then return with a single plate of spaghetti and 2 forks. My special recipe, as per Tulip's suggestion. Why am I not surprised? Dendra asked. Let's just enjoy the meal. Ash took the plate and they both walked to a table and sat together side by side. Both started sharing the spaghetti, albeit Dendra was picking her noodles very carefully, doing her Best to not take the same noddle that Ash could be nibbling. So, Dendra. Ash called her. Yes. Something wrong? She asked. Not at all, I was just thinking about something. Ash said. I know plenty of things about Penny, Iono and Nemona, since I've been traveling with them, but I don't know much about you. Oh, so you'd like to know more about me? Dendra asked with a light blush. Of course, if that's okay, I mean. He answered. It's okay indeed, she said with a wide smile. Well, what can I say? I was born in Duford, Hoenn, but my family moved to Paldea when I was very young. She started explaining while they both kept eating the spaghetti. I was raised in Alfornata where I met both Tulip and Miriam and we three became friends. I actually got my starter, a metatite, as a gift from Tulip's mom. I continued to live in Alfornata and I eventually became independent. Tulip and I both took tests to become gym leaders, but she always got the better results. She was waiting for me so we could become gym leaders together, but I didn't want to drag her down, so I eventually dropped it altogether. Then I studied to become a battle studies teacher and I passed the test in the first try. I used to work in small schools at first until I was selected to be part of the new staff of the Naranja Academy. Right, now that I think about it, where are you all going to work while the academy is being rebuilt? Ash asked. That's the thing with being a teacher, you always have a plan B. Dendra laughed. Most of my coworkers will be working in the UVA Academy in the meantime. I'll also see if I can either go there or to my old school. In an unexpected turn of events, Tulip decided she'll finally pay me for working with her in the Alfornata gym as a way of helping me. I'm really glad to have her as my friend. As Dendra got lost in the story, she stopped checking the spaghetti and before they could notice, they both ended up with opposite ends of the same noodle and they kept nibbling on it until they finally noticed their faces were a few centimeters away. Ash simply stared at her and Dendra blushed madly at the mere thought of what was supposed to happen next. My first kiss, she thought. I'm not ready. Dendra shouted to then raise her right palm and make a strong and fast karate chop that cut in half the noodle, the plate and the table under it, with a LL of that falling into pieces on the floor. That was actually quite impressive. Ash said. What the hell is wrong with me? Dendra shouted. I'm really sorry, Sawaro, I'll pay for everything. Don't worry, Dendra, I'll pay for it. Ash said. Ash, there's no way I'd ask you to do that. She replied. That's why I'm offering myself. Ash smiled. But I was the one who broke it. She incited. And I am the man who took this beautiful woman on a date. He answered, making her blush again. Just leave it to me. Fine, but I'll repay you somehow. Dendra said. Don't worry about it, you're bleeding. Ash suddenly shouted, pointing at her hand. What? Of course not. Dendra said, looking at her hand. I cut through spaghetti, it's only marinara. No, wait, it is blood. Don't worry, I got it. Ash said. Mr. Sawaro, can you give us some water? Sure thing. He answered to then hand over a water bottle. Ash quickly cleaned the cut in Dendra's hand and pulled out a small first aid kit from his pocket. Taking some bandages from it and quickly wrapping Dendra's palm to stop the bleeding. There, how does it feel? Feels amazing. Dendra said to then toss some punches to the air. So you're world champion, chef and medic. You're really full of surprises. After you travel the world for 8 years you're bound to learn some things. Ash replied. I bet, but speaking of that, have you thought about the things we talked about the other day? She asked. I haven't. Ash thought in silence for a moment. Right now, the thing that my heart wants the most is to continue this journey. I want to explore more, to learn more, to fight more, and I want to spend more time with you and the girls. It makes me happy to hear that. Dendra smiled. Well, I guess my date turn is over, right? Just one more thing. Ash softly took her bandaged hand and planted a kiss on it. That'll help you heal sooner. Thanks a lot, Mr. Doctor, she told while they both shared a laugh. Ash then paid Sawaro for the damages, despite him saying it wasn't necessary either. Ash and Dendra then walked back to the bush and Penny, Nemona, Iono and Mela came out of it, albeit they weren't blushing as much as the previous times. That was surprisingly wholesome. Iono said. Guess the game is over now. Nemona asked. Not yet. Mela replied. I'd like a turn too. Are you sure? Penny asked. I am. It's not like I'll stay behind after seeing all this. Mela said. Listen, Mela. Ash talked to her. I don't want you to push yourself. No, you listen, Ketchum. She interrupted him to then sigh. Ash, I know what you'll try to get at, but that's part of the problem. If you really want to help me, then just treat me as you'd treat any of the other girls. I don't want any special treatment, got it? Got it. Ash nodded. Good. Mela walked to him to then grab his hand. Now take me on a date, Ash Ketchum. Sure, let's see what we can find. Ash replied. If you were good enough. Maybe she would still be alive. Hey, Molly, you okay? Murdoch asked her while the girl stared at the void. Yeah, I'm fine, she answered. Murdoch, do I really have to wear this? Orla called him. Yeah, sorry, but after the 75% thing, we need to try and gather extra money, and the best way to do that is to gather attention to the stand. Now come on out. Fine, Orla said, coming out of a dressing room wearing a maid outfit. And why isn't Molly wearing one of these too? Because you're the one with floaties. Molly replied. I also only had one maid outfit in my closet. Murdoch said. Speaking of that, the real question here would be, why do you have a maid outfit? Molly asked. You guys don't know everything about me. He answered. Oh, you really think this is gonna help bring more clients? Orla asked. I do. Murdoch nodded. So for now, the most important thing is that you stay in maid character. You know, smile, sweet sister. Shut up, Orla shouted. Hey everyone, she said, playing a cute voice. Come on over and taste some pirate curry. I swear I'll make you pay for this, Murdoch. You can leave it to tomorrow. He replied. Is that a maid? Mela asked, walking towards the crew's direction alongside Ash. Looks like it, Ash replied. Pirate curry, would you like to try that? Sure, I mean, I've never eaten curry before. Let's give it a taste. Mela said. Hey, excuse us, we'd like to have some of that curry. Ash said as they approached the trio. Yosh, our first clients, Murdoch exclaimed. Hey, hold on, you're Ash Ketchum, aren't you? Orla asked him. Yes, that's me, and this is my friend, Mela. He said. Very nice to meet you, name's Orla Milfi, and these are my friends, Murdoch Gibkin and Molly de Familia. Yup, I'm the chef here and I make the best curry you'll ever taste. Murdoch said. Ash, Molly whispered while she stared at him. If you were good enough, maybe she will. Still be alive, a voice resounded in Molly's head. I didn't. Molly stuttered as she took a few steps back. If you were good enough, maybe she would still be alive. I tried, she whispered, holding her head. It wasn't my fault, Molly. Orla called her. If you were good enough, maybe she would still be alive. I gotta go, Molly shouted out loud to then run out of the scene. Wait, Molly, Orla shouted. Don't you dare follow me. Molly shouted again and stopped Orla's run behind her. Hey, easy there, Murdoch said. Remember what she told us. Looks like another one of T.'s episodes she's been having recently, just let her handle it on her own. Come on, it's obvious she wants help, but she's too stubborn to admit it. Orla said. But maybe we just met the right person to help. She thought, glancing at Ash. Hey, wait a second. Mela said. Did you just say your last name was Milfi? Yeah, not the first time someone thinks that. Orla said, covering her chest in embarrassment. It's not what you think, okay? It's Millfy, with double L, it's a totally different thing. Meanwhile, with the other girls. What the heck is this? Iono shouted, looking at what her camera was recording of the date. Those are bigger than Dendra's too. How is that even physically possible? How can her back support those? It makes no sense at all. You're taking that subject a bit too personal. Don't you think? Penny asked. Anyway, please take a seat. Orla told them as she offered them a table. We'll serve you in a moment, she said, to then leave them alone and go inside the stand. So, I heard a bit of your conversation with Dendra. Mela said to Ash. Would you like to know more about me too? Of course, as long as it doesn't make you uncomfortable. Ash said. It's not like there's much to say. Mela replied. I was born in Cabo Poco, rather normal childhood, met Charlos when I was 7, bullying started, met Penny and the rest of the anti-terrorism squad, bullying got worse and we fought the bullies, Penny left Team Star and I took the leadership, we recruited more and more people and then I began to lose myself. Charlos left me. I tried to keep it together as I could. But then Penny returned and things didn't quite work. I got more and more frustrated, and then I met you, and goddamn, did I hate you, Ketchum. I spent days and nights thinking about you, about your way of battling. I mean, I had to find a way to defeat you. It just haunted me. I had been unbeatable since I became Big Boss, only Eri could stand up to me. And then you came out of nowhere and swept me like I was nothing. Well, if it makes you feel better, you did defeat with Slither Wing. Ash said. Yeah, guess that counts. Mela said. Hey, thanks again for giving me another chance. Thank you for accepting it. Ash said. Here's the dish. Orla exclaimed, returning with 2 plates of rice curry. Hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks a lot, Orla. Ash said, and both Mela and him took their spoons to get a taste of the food. Hey, this is great. Mela said. It sure is, mate. Murdoch said from the stand. Yeah, pretty good. Ash added. Why, pirate, curry though. Well, to kinda go with our theme. Orla said. You see, Murdoch, Molly and I are part of a crew of adventurers called the Rising Volt Tacklers. We travel in a giant flying ship called the Brave Asagi. Wow, that sounds super cool. Ash exclaimed. Yeah, quite awesome. Mela added. Thanks. Orla replied, quite surprised. A lot of people don't believe ITB when we first tell them that. Trust me, I've seen weirder. Ash said. Ditto. Mela nodded. Well, as I was saying. Orla continued. The other members of the team are our Captain Freed Marvin, his chief mate, Ludlow Dogwire, and our techmaster, Akari. Murdoch's of course our chef. I'm the mechanic of the ship and Molly is in charge of our infirmary and healthcare. And what happened to your friend earlier? Mela asked. Molly has her story. Orla replied. In fact, all of the members of our crew have our own story. Murdoch has been in jail, for example. She whispered so the chef wouldn't hear her. Really? What for? Mela asked. We don't know, he changes the story every time we ask him. Murdoch said. I defrauded Macrocosmos Enterprises. I robbed the second largest bank in Kalos using only a heavy ball. I created a hole in the ozone over the sky pillar. Heis saur un post con este pulgar. But trust me, as of now, he's one of the sweetest people I've ever met. Orla said. So whatever was the reason. I'm sure he's totally redeemed. Anyone can be a good person if they just try. That's something I'm counting on. Mela replied. Ash, sorry to ask this, but have you met Molly before? Orla asked. No, I'm pretty sure I haven't. He answered. Though she did look at me like I knew her. Maybe you just reminded her of something or someone. Mela said. It sounds like she has PTSD, and trust me, it ain't fun. Even the smallest thing can make you revive that moment to its fullest. If you were good enough, maybe she would still be alive. Shut up, Molly shouted while holding her head. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. I did everything I could. You think I didn't want to save her? No, no, no. Shut up, she shouted to then run away again. Thanks a lot for the curry. Ash said after Mela and her had finished with the food and he paid for it. Thanks a lot for coming. Murdoch replied. Hope to see you guys again. Orla added as Ash and Mela left the stand. Thanks a lot to you too, Ash. Mela told him. I'm glad you liked the date. Ash said. Well, what do we have here? A voice called behind them and they both turned around to find Gita. I see you. Already making the most of your time together. Gita said and caused Mela to notice she was once again grabbing Ash's hand so she quickly let it go. Yeah, I'm learning a lot. Mela replied. Thank you so much for letting me go with Ash. You're welcome, but Ash is the one you should be thanking. Gita said. The fact that he was the one to ask for it influenced a lot my decision. I did tell Ash that I'd help him with everything I could while he was in Paldea. And I'm really grateful for that, Miss Gita. Ash answered. Please, dear, just call me Gita. She said with a giggle. Hey, Ash, why don't you take a turn with Gita now? Mela asked. A turn? Gita asked. Yes, you see, I've been having dates with the girls here in the festival. Ash explained. And I just finished one with Mela. Would you like to join? Ash Ketchum, are you asking me out on a date? She answered, taking a step forward to him. Yes I am. Ash smiled at her and Gita answered, smiling as well. Very well. Then I'm honored to accept. Gita said. I want you to bring him home at 10:01 or I'll hunt you down. Mela said, offering Ash's hands to Gita. That's a deal. Gita nodded to then take Ash's hand. Well, see ya, Ketchum. Mela said, kissing her index finger to then press it on Ash's cheek before walking away. Huh, well, do you have any idea of which stand you'd like to visit? He asked Gita. Of course. Some friends of mine have a stand here, let's go with them. Some minutes later. Mela, what the heck was that? Penny shouted once her friend arrived in the bush. What? I thought I'd be a good way to thank Miss Gita for what she did for me. Mela replied. But she's evil. Penny shouted. She's totally evil. Why does nobody else sees it? Back with Ash. Welcome to the Medley's restaurant stand. A toddler welcomed Ash. Name's Rika and this squirt here is Poppy. The woman said to then carry Poppy in her arms. And I'd be Larry, leader of the Medley Gym. And owner of its restaurant and therefore of this extension of it. Very nice to meet you. Nice to meet you all too. Ash replied by Gita's side. Wow. Ash Ketchum. Poppy squealed. I've heard that you're super strong, sir. Too bad for you this squirt. Larry and I are pretty strong too. You'll have to get through us if you want to become champ. That's right. We're 3/4 of the Paldea Elite Four. The more awesomes out there. Poppy exclaimed. The strongest of the strongest. Rika added. The world's finest indeed. Larry nodded. So, wait, mister. Larry is both a gym leader and an Elite Four. Ash asked. Retirement ain't cheap. Larry replied. So, La Primera, may we know the reason you've brought Mr. Ketchum here with us today? Oh, nothing special. Gita said. Ash and I are just having a little date. She said, surprising the three, albeit Larry's expression didn't change much. A what? Rika asked. Quite unexpected. Larry said. Ooh, does that mean you'll get married soon? Poppy asked. Poppy, I already told you that topic is a bit more complicated. Rika said. Well, that's not something too crazy to say. Gita replied. I'll admit that Ash is among the highest of my prospects list. I am. Ash asked. You are. Gita nodded with a smile. Although that brings me to ask, have you thought about that topic? You seem to have fun with the girls that follow you. But do you think any of them could be an actual girlfriend and eventual wife? With all the responsibilities that comes with. I honestly haven't. Ash replied. I guess I haven't thought of anything that far in the future, but the one thing I'm sure of is that I want to stay with them. They're different from my past traveling companions. I feel different with them and I'd like to keep feeling that way. I guess. Very well. Gita smiled again. Now, I think you invited me eat something, didn't you? Of course, Mr. Larry, what do you serve here? Ash asked. Rice. Larry answered. Quote. And Ash asked again. Water. Larry replied. Quote. That's all you have? Ash asked. They're both simple, plain, nutritious, delicious, easy and quick to prepare and most importantly, cheap. You get used to it. Rika said. The rice is really tasty and the water is very fresh. Poppy said. Then I guess we'll be having 2 bowls of rice and 2 glasses of water. Ash said. Excellent choice. Larry nodded. Please take a table while we prepare it. Fine then. Gita led the way to the table and pulled out a chair. After you, she said to Ash. Hey, I thought the gentleman was supposed to pull out the chair. Ash replied with a smile. As you may or may have not noticed, I don't like to stick to gender roles. She answered. Thanks a lot then. Ash answered, sitting on the chair. You're welcome, she said to then take a seat herself. So, I'm one of your highest prospects? Ash asked her. You are the highest of my prospects. She replied. Quote. And the only one I'm actually considering at the moment for that matter. Wow, I don't know what to say. Ash replied with a slight blush. It's fine, you don't have to say anything. Gita said. I know it may sound a little rude. But I have been thinking a lot about you since you became champion. You have no idea of how excited I was when Brassius informed me you were here in Paldea. I was, in fact, quite nervous when we first met. I really wanted to give you a good first impression. Hope I did. You sure did. Ash said. That's good to hear. Gita smiled again. And, as I was saying, I really think we'd be a perfect match, the two strongest trainers in the world, the literal definition of a power couple. As long as you don't mind our little age gap. I know you still see me as Miss Gita. But I'll be sure to change that. She said with a soft voice to then lift Ash's chin with her right hand, getting him to blush again. Here's the rice, Rika said, arriving next to the table with 2 bowls. Here's the water. Poppy joined her with the 2 glasses. And here's the paycheck, Larry added with the paper in hand. "Huh, I love it when you do that, Mr. Larry, you're always so tired," Poppy said. "Look at this, Mr. Ketchum, Ehim, Elite 4 Poppy," she exclaimed, striking a pose. "Elite 4 Rika," she joined the toddler. Larry. He sighed without moving. "I use steel types," Poppy continued with another pose. "I use ground types," Rika exclaimed. Normal and flying," Larry sighed again. "Wow, you 3 are really in sync," Ash said. "Of course, as members of the Elite 4, we've gotten to know each other a lot," Rika said. "And who's the 4th member then?" Ash asked. "That'd be Hassel," Larry answered. "He's the art teacher of the Naranja Academy." "Yup. Right now he is with his best friend Brassius, helping him with his stand in the festival," Poppy said. "Yeah, best friend," Rika smiled to herself. "Hey, Miss Rika, are Poppy and you related?" Ash asked. "Ah, you suddenly want to know about me?" Rika giggled to then take Ash's chopsticks and grab a bit of his rice. Poppy was left in an orphanage a few days after she was born. She started to explain while eating Ash's rice. "No one has ever met her parents. She grew there in the orphanage, and with the time she proved to be a really skilled trainer. I met her there while the Elite 4 was doing an exhibition. We grew closer. Spent more days together and we both took a liking of each other, so with some help from Gita I got her custody and became her legal guardian. Of course, our relationship is more sister-like. But I'm legally her mother, so be warned, Ketchum, if you hit on me, you'd be hitting on a single mother." "I think you mean I'd be hitting on a MILF," Ash replied. Eureka was still eating his rice and the surprise caused her to choke on it. "Hey, nice comeback there." Gita laughed at the scene. "It was still a bit embarrassing to say," Ash said. "It just pinged on my head because of someone I met earlier today. I still think it was great," Gita insisted. "Rika loves to act tough, but if you get her with her guard down, it's very easy to fluster her." "That's not true." Rika coughed while still choking as Larry gave her soft pats in her back, and Ash eventually offered her his glass of water. "Tea, thanks," she replied after drinking it. "Hey, Rika, what's a MILF?" Poppy asked. "I'll explain you in 10. Rika replied. "Minutes?" Poppy asked. "Years," Rika shouted. "Oh, wait, it's one of those acronamo thingies, right?" Poppy asked. "What does it mean? Married in love forever?" Yeah. That's totally what it is," Rika replied. "Does that mean you'll marry Sir Ketchum too?" Poppy shouted. "What? No," Rika shouted, blushing. "Does that mean I'll marry him then?" Poppy. Rika shouted again. "Well, to change topic." Ash talked, embarrassed by the situation. "This rice is very tasty, Mr. Larry." "It sure is," Gita agreed. "I'm glad you both think that," Larry said. "Well, as much as I'd like to extend this, today's a very busy day for me." Gita sighed to then stand up from her chair. "I should be taking my leave. Thanks a lot for giving some of your time then," Ash replied. "Thanks to you, Ash," Gita said. "And I hope this little shot of me motivates you. Consider me, as well. See you soon and keep having fun here in Paldea." "Until next time, Gita," Ash replied, and she smiled one more time at him. Hey, wait, I almost forgot something," Gita said. "Do you know anything about that strange Volcarona that Mela was using?" "Slitherwing," Ash said. "Well, from what we've guessed, Slitherwing is a regional form from an island in the center of Paldea." "In its center?" Gita asked. "You mean inside the Great Crater?" "I guess. That's what Professor Sada and Turo told us at least." "I see. Well, Sada and Turo are both good friends of mine, so I imagine I should believe that," Gita said. "Does Mela still has that Volcarona?" "She doesn't," Ash replied. "Slitherwing was stolen by someone named Emethiota Jalakia. I've been trying to inform the professors about it, but they aren't answering my calls." "I'll try calling them as well," Gita said before walking away. "Thanks a lot for the information, see you soon." But Miss Gita, you and I would have so much fun together. Poppy said to Rika. Listen, Squirt. Being married involves much more than just having fun. Rika replied. It's full of responsibilities and adult things, and you seem to be missing another important point. One person can only marry one person. But what if someone loves two persons and those persons love that first person? Poppy asked. It's people, she corrected her. And Squirt, that kind of things only happens in books, real life is not no simple. That kind of relationship comes with way too many troubles and everyone is going to judge them. So they won't get a happily ever after. Poppy asked again with tears in her eyes. Yes, more or less. Rika said. Hey, Larry, you think you can help me explain this to her? I'd rather not. Larry said. Well, what about you, Ash? Rika called him. I'm not sure, that's a very complicated topic. Ash said. But I think that if everyone involved is willing to make it work, then it could work. You're seriously telling me you'd give that a try? Rika asked. I'm not saying that, but. Ash Ketchum, I really like you. I love you. I love you so much. I'm sorry it took me so long to tell you. You have no idea of how much I love you. Why yo te amo, si. Te amo mucho y quiero que sepas que nadie te amará como yo. Miss Rika, Mr. Larry, Poppy, thanks a lot for the meal, but I'll be leaving now. Ash said to pay the check and walk away. It could work, right? Ash asked in his mind. Penny, Nemona, Iono, Dendra, can I really? And what about Mela and Gita? They also seem to. What am I supposed to do? Hello there. Someone called Ash and he turned to see a stand attended by a pink-haired girl. She was wearing a white and pink hat with a bow and a white blouse with short sleeves, along with a long-sleeved blue dress underneath. Sorry if I'm bothering you, but you seem a bit down. Maybe I could offer you a Castelliacone to cheer you up. Yeah, thanks, I could use one of those. Ash replied. Take a seat. I'll serve you in a moment. She answered and Ash approached the stand and sat down in one of the seats in front of it while the girl went under the counter to the return with a vanilla tea-shaped ice cream. One Castelliacone. As promised, she said with a smile while Ash paid for it. Thanks a lot. My name is Yancy. She answered. Excuse me for not introducing myself, it's a pleasure to meet you. Pleasure's mine. Ash smiled. So, if you're serving Castelliacones, I suppose you're from Unova, right? I am, from Nimbasa, in fact. She replied. And I suppose you're from Pallet Town, Mr. Ketchum. Gosh, this, being famous, thing really gets a bit annoying. Ash sighed. Hey, yeah, tell me about it. Yancy replied. How so? Well, I got a friend who's an idol, you see. Yancy stuttered. She's always complaining about how hard it is to maintain that kind of life. She kinda wants a break, but she still doesn't want to disappoint her fans. Her fans, huh? Ash asked. Well, I'd like you to tell your friend something that I told to a friend of mine that was having a similar problem. As important as her fans may be, she can't let them decide her fate. She has to ask herself, what does she really want? Her life is hers and only hers. Wow, thanks. Yancy replied with surprised expression. I'll be sure to tell all that to my friend, I'm sure it'll help her a lot. Hope it does. Ash said. So, what's your idol friend's name? Her name is Nancy. She said. Nancy. Ash asked. Yup. She nodded. Her name is Nancy, and your name is Yancy. Ash asked again. Yup, we both laughed at it when we first met, quite a crazy coincidence, don't you think? Yancy kept stuttering as she started to sweat. In exchange for that advice you gave my friend, if it isn't a bother, would you like to tell me why you were feeling down a moment ago? Maybe I could help you too. I dunno, it's a bit complicated. Ash replied. But, I've been traveling with some girls, you see. And they all seem to like me and I think I like them all too, and I have no idea of what I'm supposed to do next. It's either rejecting them all, choosing one and breaking the other's hearts, or choosing them all. Yancy interrupted him. Wow, what a dilemma. Yeah, that's where my inner conflict is coming from. Ash sighed. That third option, choosing them all, I've considering it more than I'm proud to admit. I want to believe I can make it work, but what if it doesn't? Does my will to do this really comes from genuine feelings of love? Or am I forcing myself to love them because I don't want to hurt them? Or maybe is that I'm just being selfish for not wanting to choose? What would the girls even think when I tell them about this? They could even be disgusted by the idea. I mean, they're the ones that'd be in the hardest spot for having to share me, and the last thing I want for them is to suffer. Then why am I still considering this? Wow, Yancy said in a whisper. Sorry, I didn't mean to drop such heavy stuff, but I guess I needed to let that out. Ash said. Don't worry, it's fine. Yancy said. But if you want my opinion, the fact that you're doubting yourself so much seems like the perfect proof that you're doing this out of genuine feelings. You must really love all those girls. If I really loved them, I wouldn't be thinking about this. Ash replied. They deserve something better than that. They deserve to be happy. Yancy continued. And you deserve to be happy too. If you love those girls and they love you back, what else do you need? What else? Thanks for the talk, Yancy, but I'll be leaving. Ash said to then stand up from his seat. Of course, hope you make up your mind soon. Yancy said. You shouldn't let the opportunity to love to walk away from you. Until next time, Ash said, taking his leave. Some minutes later. There you are, Iono said while Ash made it with the girls. My Rotom phone lost track of you after the date with Gita. Where were you? I just did a little stop in another stand and ate some ice cream. Ash said, relieved to know the girls didn't hear her conversation with Yancy. So, Penny, Iono, Nemona, Dendra, Mela, did you all enjoy the dates? Oh, right, Iono replied before the other girls. Now that the game is done, it's time for our little recap. Let's see what Ash has done so far. Play some flashback music, maestro. So, first off, we started the game with Ash and Penny's date. Iono started narrating to the camera. They got some chocolates from Marnie and things got a tad bit spicy. Yeah, I'm still not too proud of that, but I'll admit I liked it. Penny said. Me too. Ash replied while they both blushed. Like I said, you just surprised me a bit, but I enjoyed it. Next up was my turn with Ash. Iono continued. We got some cake from Katie, and I mean literal cake, not what you guys are thinking. Followed by a classic food fight, and aside from the cake, Ash got a very nice taste of me. Iono said to then stick out her tongue. Who knows? If I don't edit that correctly, this might be our first NSFW. Quote. Don't say it as if you haven't spent half of our travel teasing me. Ash replied while blushing. That's why it surprised me so much when you did that. Iono blushed as well while she smiled. Again, really wouldn't mind to repeat it. Next up was Ash and Nemona. Iono kept narrating. They got some sushi from Kofu, with Nemona picking one that got her just a little drunk. But after some ranting, she got the forehead kiss she's been wanting for so long. Yeah, it was embarrassing, but I still enjoyed it. Nemona laughed. Glad to hear that. Ash smiled at her to then glance at Iono and she gave her a nod. Next up was Ash's date with Dendra. Who I still don't understand why her boobs are so I mean, why she's wearing a kimono. Continuing. They got some spaghetti from Saguaro and thank God it didn't end with that cliché scene, so Dendra, as the responsible adult she is, destroyed the whole table with a karate chop like a totally normal person would do. Iono explained while Dendra covered her face in embarrassment and Ash did his best to comfort her. I'm so sorry for being such a wreck. Dendra replied. Dendra, seriously, don't worry about it. Ash said. The fifth date was for our new member, Mela, and they got themselves some pirate curry from the Rising Volt Tacklers. Yeah, it was fun. Mela said. And that curry tasted really great. I still wonder what happened to that girl Molly though. Ash said. And out of nowhere, we got a sixth challenger. Iono exclaimed. Top champion Gita Omodaka made an special appearance and took Ash to eat some rice with the Elite Four, or should I say Elite Three. Iono asked to then laugh out loud. And that's pretty much it. Well, I also ate a Castelliacone on the way here. Ash said. And he also ate a Castelliacone on the way here. Iono repeated. So that'd be it. Now, the question that arises, which one of those dates did our honorable Judge Ash Ketchum enjoy the most? And this again. Ash sighed. Listen, I enjoyed all of those dates. I love to spend some time alone with each one of you and I feel like I learned something from each of one you. Today and I'd gladly repeat this game another time. Does that answer satisfies you? Will do. Yup. Si, senor. I guess. Indeed. Dendra exclaimed. I'll be waiting eagerly for our next shot. I'm glad you say that, Dendra. Ash said. Because I got one more thing I'd like to do with you. Huh, what is it? Dendra asked. Well, the main reason why I invited you here to the festival was because I still owed you that cooking lesson, so I thought we could do that now, you in. You bet. Dendra shouted. Alright then, you saw plenty of food here in the festival. Ash continued. What would you like us to cook? Well, let's see. Dendra thought. Chocolate, cake, sushi, spaghetti, curry, rice, ice cream. I'd like to cook a sandwich. After all we've seen, all you want to make is a sandwich. Mela asked. Well, I really know absolutely nothing about cooking and this is my first lesson, so I think I should focus on doing something simple first. Dendra replied. Besides, it was thanks to a sandwich that I could get closer to Ash and confess to him, so I'd really like to finally make a good one for him. A sandwich it'll be then. Ash said. Actually, I was expecting you to choose that. Which is why I invited an expert. Meanwhile with the tacklers. And that's a super mega victory. Murdoch shouted with a V sign in his hand. That sounded kinda cringe. Orla replied. Who cares? Our pirate curry was a total success. We sold out. Murdoch celebrated along his rockruff. Which means I can finally get this stupid thing off. Orla said to then go the dressing room. And take off the maid outfit to then return with her usual clothes. That feels better, she said adjusting her gloves. Thanks a lot either way. Murdoch said. Guys. Molly called them as she returned to the stand. There you are. Girl, you just missed it. Murdoch said. Where have you been? Orla asked. We sold all of the curry. We got so much money. Murdoch continued. It was far more than I first expected. Might be enough to make the 75% thing worth it. Where is my backpack? Molly asked ignoring what they were saying while her gray eyes stared at the nothingness. Over there. Next to rest of our backpacks, just where you left it. Orla pointed at the corner of the stand and then picked up Molly's red backpack to give to her. Molly took the backpack and then opened it to pull out a fully white Nurse Joy outfit, with only the cross in front of its hat being pink. If you were good enough, maybe she would still be alive. Is that yours? Orla asked. Not anymore. Molly replied to then hide the clothes inside the backpack again. Anymore? How so? Orla asked. Orla, remember. Murdoch whispered to her. I'm leaving. Molly said carrying her backpack. I'll return to the brave Asagi on my own later. Wait, where are you going? Orla shouted. Orla. Murdoch shouted. No. Shut up. Orla exclaimed to then jump over the counter of the stand and face Molly. You. Stop acting like you don't want help. Just tell us what's going on. Orla. Molly stared at her in silence for what felt like an eternity for both of them. This is my life, my mistake, my burden, my weight. If you were good enough, maybe she would still be alive. Just leave me alone. Molly shouted to then run away. Oh, no, you won't. Orla shouted running after her. Hey, girls, wait. Murdoch called them to no avail. Driftblim. Molly exclaimed releasing the ghost which had a small red balloon tied around him. Molly then grabbed two of Driftblim's arms and he rose up in the air along with her. Metagross. Orla called her Pokemon as well and jumped to his back while Metagross lifted itself in the air to chase after Driftblim. Unburden. Molly shouted to then pull out a syringe from her backpack and toss it to the air balloon that was tied around her Driftblim. The balloon exploded and Driftblim was outlined in white light to then have a sudden surge of speed. That's how you wanna play. Agility. Orla ordered and her Metagross, eyes illuminated to then boost his speed as well. Sigh, women. Murdoch said still in the stand while watching the air chase along his rockruff. I can only hope doesn't become like them. Oh, well, let's start packing things up, pal. Back with Ash. Happy to be here, Arvind said to Ash's group while baying in front of a table full of ingredients. Everything ready, Juliana? Yup, this is the last one. She replied placing a small bowl of lettuce in the table. Perfect, Here you have everything you could need to make a good sandwich. Arvin said. Thanks a lot for the help, guys. Ash told them. Hey, it's nothing. Juliana said. We owed you one. After all, Arvin and I wouldn't have defeated the Open Sky Titan without your help. I'm also kind of flattered to know that someone who has been in so many places and eaten so many food considers me a sandwich expert. Arvin added. Very well, Miss Dendra, and you can go ahead. Arvin said. After you're done, Juliana and I will play the roles of the judges. We won't be rough, promise. Juliana said. But please, Miss Dendra, try not to intoxicate us. Well, that's very motivating. Dendra replied with deadpan eyes. Here, Dendra, this should be simple. Ash said, taking 2 slices of bread. Just do what I do. Hi, sensei. Dendra nodded, taking 2 slices as well. There. Now let's soften the bread a bit. Ash took some butter in a knife and applied it in both slices while Dendra kept following his movements. Now, what will we make the sandwich of? Meat, she exclaimed. Lots of meat to keep you healthy and strong. Good intentions, but we need a better execution. Ash replied. Remember, that was one of the problems with your last sandwich. It had too much meat, and too much of something isn't good. You need to find a balance. Wuji Bai Fan. Dendra exclaimed. Just like in karate, firm as an oak, yet soft as a cloud. Exactly. Now look here. Arvin and Juliana brought us lots of ingredients. Ash continued. Let's try a bit of everything. Alright then, I'll start with a ham slice and then some tomatoes and cheese and lettuce. How does that sound? Quote. Sounds great. Ash replied. Now give it a try. On it. Dendra exclaimed, to then take a knife and cut all the ingredients with an impressive speed and precision, to then spread them on the bread slices and close them. It's ready, sensei. Dendra exclaimed with a light blush. I hope my works makes you proud. Oh Sue, don't you think she's taking this a bit too seriously? Juliana asked. You can never take sandwiches too seriously. Arvin replied. Now, show me what you got. Fine then. Dendra nodded, to then take the knife again and cut the sandwich in 4 equal triangles. Here goes. Juliana took the first triangle, slightly scared, to then give it a small bite. Hey, this is actually pretty good, she said, to then eat the rest of the triangle in a single bite. Wow, congrats, Miss Dendra. You finally made something edible. Ah, thanks, Dendra said. Yeah, it turned out pretty good all things considered. Arvin said while he ate another part of the sandwich. Of course, it's an extremely simple recipe, but for beginners is an amazing start. Thanks a lot. Dendra smiled. Dendra answered, to then grab another pieces of the sandwich and eat it. Hey, not bad, even if I say so myself. But there is one more person who has to eat this, she said, to then offer the last part of the sandwich to Ash. It would be really important to me. Ash simply smiled, to then take the sandwich and eat it in a single bite. Dendra. Ash gave her a serious look. This is delicious, he shouted. You think so? Dendra exclaimed. Of course. It was a perfect sandwich. Ash continued. See, I knew you could do it. I can cook. Dendra shouted, to then take Ash in a tight hug. I don't care if it was a small step, it was big for me. I finally made a good sandwich. This will be a starting point. There's so many things I want to cook, I'll learn as much as I can. I'll cook some delicious meals for you, and I'd like to cook for our family too. Oh, our family. Ash stuttered, blushing again. Why yeah, when we have one, I mean. Dendra parted from the hug, to then take Ash's hands. I know I've said it before, but I love you, I really do. I've never felt this way before. I can't stop thinking about you, about how much I want to spend my days with you, about how much I want to have a family with you, a really, really big family. I know I'll be a total mess of a mother, but I think that with your help I can become a good one, 'cause I know you'll be the best dad this world has ever seen. I have no doubt about it. But, just in case you don't think I'm being serious. Dendra let go off his hands only to cup Ash's face and bring their foreheads together. Shouldn't we stop her? Nemona asked. Don't worry, it's gonna be just another fake out like those times we were close today. Penny said. I love you, Ash Ketchum. Dendra whispered, to then softly pull Ash's face closer to hers, landing a warm kiss right on his lips. What? Iono. Penny and Nemona shouted. Oh my. Mela said. Well, that escalated quickly. Juliana said. That's what happens when you believe in the power of sandwiches. Arvin said with a tear in his eye. Ash at first had his eyes wide open as he processed what was happening, but he eventually closed them to answer the kiss, which lasted 15 seconds that felt like an eternity to Penny, Nemona and Iono. Dendra then separated from him, both letting out a small gasp and blushing madly as they stared into each other's eyes. That was my first kiss. Dendra said with a wide smile. I trusted you my first kiss and I'll trust you everything because I know you'll take care of me. Thought I suppose someone like you has already kissed a bunch of girls, right? That was my first kiss too. Ash replied. It was. Dendra shouted. You. The doomed trio shouted to then tackle Dendra to the floor in unison. You kiss thief. You scoundrel. Nemona shouted at her. How dare you steal his innocence like that? Penny shouted as well. We won't let you lure him with those God-given airbags. Iono added. Maybe we can talk this out like ladies. Dendra asked nervously. Okay. I think we've seen enough, we should be leaving. Juliana said to Arvin. Seconded. He replied. I'll start cleaning the table, hope you guys can help us in the next Titan battle thought. Hey, Ketchum, you okay? Mela asked him while the other 3 girls were busy with Dendra. Yeah, I think I just need a bit of air. Ash replied still blushing. I'll leave for a second, tell the girls when they finish what they're doing. He said to then start walking away without the other girls noticing. Mela. Yes, she asked. Tell them to, not follow me or call me for the moment. Ash said. Got it. Mela nodded and Ash left the scene with plenty of thoughts in his head. What makes you think you have the right to steal his first kiss? Iono continued shouting at Dendra. 2 maldita asaltacunas. Nemona added. You've barely met him for a few days. Penny shouted. We're the ones who've been traveling with him for months. Sorry, I just wanted to show Ash. Hey, where did Ash go? She asked and the other girls finally noticed his absence. Yeah, he left. Mela said. He said he needed some air and he doesn't want you guys to look for him or call him. See, this is what you cause. Iono shouted at Dendra. You boob monster. Yummy hardest, hija de la chingada. Nemona continued ranting. If you even try to get close to him again, I swear we'll. Hey, wait a second. Mela interrupted them. Where's Pikachu? What do you mean? Penny asked. Wasn't he with Ash? No, he wasn't. Mela replied. Ash left alone, I'm sure of it. Pikachu disappeared too. Iono shouted. We were supposed to take care of him while Ash focused on the dates. Alright, let's recap. Penny said. Pikachu was on my shoulder when we arrived to the festival. But then when I went to my date with Ash, he jumped to Iono. And then when it was my turn he went with Nemona. Iono replied. And then I left him with Dendra. Nemona added. And then I gave him to Mela. Dendra answered. And then he went with Iono. Mela replied. And then I lost track of him. Iono admitted. I was too focused on the videos. We lost Pikachu. Penny shouted. Ash is gonna kill us. Nemona added. He'll surely be disappointed at least. Mela said. Alright, we need to go round the festival and find Pikachu. Dendra said. And if we happen to find Ash, let's leave him alone. Mela said. He looked really confused. Fine, let's split up. Penny said. Whoever finds Pikachu first will call the others so we can meet again. Let's get moving. Meanwhile with Ash. I just got my first kiss stolen, Ash asked to himself while he walked in circles around the festival, still blushing madly. I just kissed a girl, a woman, for that matter, a bit older than me, and I liked it. She wants to have a family with me, and I guess I want that too, but it's not like I'm ready to be a father. I'm going way too far on the future, focus on the now, Ash Ketchum. Do you want Dendra as your girlfriend, as your wife? And what about Penny, Nemo and Iono? They all like me and I like them too, I love them, but I can't just ask them to. Hey, red face. A female voice called Ash and he turned around to find a girl with long black hair wearing a green kimono sitting in one of the seats of a stand. How about you sit down for a moment? She asked pointing at the seat next to her. Thanks. Ash said to then sit by her side. Name's Ash by the way. Carmen. She replied moving her hair with her hand to show the red highlights on the inside of it. Nice to meet you. Oh, another client. A blonde girl with a waitress outfit and red glasses greeted Ash. Hi, I'm Leah. Welcome to the Pokemon Cafe Mix. What would you like? Give this partner here an iced tea. Carmen replied. He needs to chill out. Yeah, that sounds good. Ash replied. I'm on it. Led replied to then leave the two. So, Carmen stared at Ash to then giggle. Excuse my boldness, but I heard most of what you were saying from here. I don't have all the context, but it sounds like you want to make a harem. Don't you say that word. Ash replied. Why not? Isn't that your plan? Carmen asked. Not saying I'm not considering it, but here's the iced tea. Leah shouted, coming back to them with a cup. Thanks a lot, Leah. Ash replied to then drink the whole cup in a single sip. Better? Carmen asked. Better. Ash replied. Better. Leah exclaimed. Oh, sorry, you guys keep talking. She said to then go under the counter. So, as I was saying. Ash sighed again. I don't want to think I'll be making a harem. That makes it sound like I'm forcing them in a group and not letting them be individuals. Then how would you like to call it? Carmen asked. A family. Ash replied. I want to believe I can make it feel like a family, even with all the hardships and problem that will come because of that decision. Hey, normal families are full of hardships and problems. Carmen said. That's what makes us humans, there's no reason to be ashamed of it. Now, the question is, when will you tell those girls the plan? I'm not even sure if I should tell them to begin with. Ash said. Well, I think you should tell them. Leah said. Oh, sorry, I was overhearing. I do that a lot actually. Hey. If I had to guess. Our dear Ash here is scared of rejection. Carmen said. He's afraid the girls could reject the idea, which could end up ruining the relationship he already has with them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Ash nodded. The mere thought of it terrifies me. I don't want to offend them and screw up what we've built so far. I can't afford to lose any of them like that. Ah, that's so sweet. Leah said. A bit too chintzy for my taste. Carmen smirked. But I'll admit your heart's in the right place. Listen, I appreciate a lot the kind words, but why does every girl I've told this so far thinks this is a good idea? Ash asked. Shouldn't you be saying I'm some kind of misogynist playboy? No. Leah said. Like, you're Ash Ketchum. You've saved the world. Several times. Carmen said. Any girl would be honored to be your girlfriend. Leah continued. I still don't think that justifies what I'm trying to do. Ash said. Listen, Ash, you're the only who can convince himself that this is a good idea. Carmen said. So if, or rather, when you make up your mind, make sure to visit me in Kitakami. She said, booping Ash's nose with her finger. I'll be happy to join the mess. She smiled to then walk away. See you later, red face. Whatever choice you take, I'm sure it'll be the right one, Ash. Leah said. You just have to listen to your heart, that's what has brought you so far, isn't it? It sure has. Ash sighed again. Guess I'll get back with the girls before they start worrying. Can you give me the check? Of course. In a moment. Leah replied to. Then go under the counter and instantly return with a piece of paper. Thanks. Ash replied to then take the check and read it. 2 slices of cake, 2 coffees, 2 black donuts and 3 CEDTs. What is all this? Well, those are the things that Carmen ordered. Leah explained. And she didn't pay for them. Ash asked. No, I thought you two were together. Leah said. I mean, she mentioned that she was waiting for someone that would pay her stuff. Well, I doubt she was waiting for me in specific, I literally met her here. Ash replied while he looked around, but Carmen was nowhere to be seen. Oh, guess she was just expecting to trick someone then. Leah said to then facepalm herself. And I fell right onto it. You dumb Leah. Hey, don't worry, I'll pay for it anyway. Ash said. What a sly thievil this girl is, but she's got quite the appetite. I respect that. Boy, I still can't believe Dendra just kissed me like that. I still can't believe you just kissed him like that. Liko said to Anne while they were both along with Roy in a stand of the festival, where he was preparing soup with the help of their Quilava, Dartrix and Duwat. What's the matter? Anne asked. You were the one who told me I'd end up becoming one of his girlfriends. I know, but it's not that simple. Liko replied. You know he isn't aware of that yet, not to mention that if you tr. Why to push it that could end up changing the outcome, like we did with Mela? Guess you're right. Anne pouted. But I still like to do it. Yeah, speaking of Mela. Roy sighed and stopped preparing the soup. Listen, I'm all in for the good ol. Nady Moira, Seguirmos de Pai, but Liko, you were the one who told us at the beginning that we shouldn't intervene. I know, but I also knew what would happen to Mela. Liko stopped talking and thought in silence for a moment. Roy, you don't understand it, it haunted Ash so much, I had to do something. Yeah, come on, Roy, what were we supposed to do? Anne asked. Just let her die. Quote, maybe. Roy trailed off. Roy. Both girls shouted. Hey, listen, I know I'm sounding harsh, but we're messing with things we don't understand at all. Roy defended himself. Time is something very complicated, but the one thing that's almost for sure is that changing the past will affect the future in one way or another. What if saving Mela causes some kind of butterfree effect that ends up in a war or something worse? It'd be our fault. I don't care. Liko suddenly shouted, surprising Anne and Roy. It's just having this. Liko looked down at her pendant before sighing. Roy, what's the point of knowing something bad is going to happen if I can't prevent it? We had the chance to save a life and we saved it. That's what a Ketchum would do, and if I want to be worthy of that name, then I can't just stand by when I know I can do something to help. Sorry. Roy sighed. Again, I'm really glad Anne and Ash saved Mela, I'm worried about the consequences it could cause. Maybe nothing will happen at all, Roy. Anne replied. Listen, you need to ground yourself a bit and don't think of high-scale outcomes like a war, I mean. Aside from Mela joining Ash's family, what could come out of her surviving the fire? You're taking this way too seriously. Or maybe you two are taking it too easy. Roy said. Time isn't what you think. Liko told them. What? They both asked. That's what that weird Pokemon told me when he gave me the pendant. Liko said. I may not fully understand this whole thing yet, but I want to believe I made the right decision. Well, I'm sure we did. Anne said. I'm just saying. Enough. Liko stopped him to then sigh. We won't discuss this further, we saved Mela and we're not going to undo it. If any kind of consequence shows up, we'll just fix it however we can. How? We're Academy students, Roy said, crossing his arms. What are we supposed to do? We shouldn't even be messing with this kind of things to begin with. At least we can ask Ash for help if it gets too big to handle. Anne said. I guess I'll need a more subtle way to lure him. Still, what about you, Liko? Won't you tell Ash the truth? I dunno. Liko said. Well, I personally think you shouldn't. Roy replied. We should focus in understanding how your pendant works so we can send you back. We don't have to focus so much on that. Liko said. I like it here and I like to be with you too, and also I'd like to spend more time with Ash like this. She said with a light blush. That's the reason why I don't want to tell him the truth just yet. I'd like to be sure that he likes me for what I am now and not because I'm his, you know. Hey, I'm sure he'll like you either way. Anne said. Until we agree. Roy sighed. Hey, he's gonna love you. I hope you guys are right. Liko said. Guess the best I can is be prepared for the next time we meet. Liko. Ash called her. Eek. She shouted and turned around to see him in front of the stand. Hi, Ash. Ash, M.I. Rapidash, hee, how long have you been there? I was just passing through right now. Ash replied. Good to see you three again. Hello there, mister. Anne told him with a sly look. Hi, Anne. Ash greeted her. Anne Azuka. She replied. Be sure to remember it, it'll be useful in the future. Sure, I'll remember it. Ash said. Oh, come on, don't tell me you're still embarrassed about that kiss. Anne continued. Well, I'll admit I've been thinking about it. Ash replied. He. Anne grinned. How's Mela? Roy asked. Doing good so far. Ash replied. And, how are you? Liko asked. I'm, honestly a bit conflicted. Ash answered. Oh, it's about your girls, isn't it? Liko asked to then jump over the counter so she could be face to face with Ash and take both his hands. Ash, you need to stop doubting yourself. You're gonna be the happiest man on earth and they'll be the happiest women too. I'm sure of it, but you have to take the first step. Liko. Ash stared at her for a moment. How do you know what I'm talking about? I know you more than you think. She replied. I'm your biggest fan after all. What kind of fan are you? Ash asked. How could you possibly know that? Why did that hug you gave me when we met, felt like it wasn't the first time I hugged you? Well, how did you know in which classroom of the Academy Mela was? Ash asked again. I told you, my Dartrix. There weren't any windows in that classroom. Ash interrupted her and Liko started to sweat. How did you know? Ash, you said you'd trust me. She said. I know, but, why do I? Ash asked. I barely know you and yet, it feels like we've been together for a long time. It's complicated. Liko smiled to then squeeze his hands tighter and get a bit closer to him while they both blushed. But the one thing you should know is that. Liko soft. TLY pressed their foreheads together and then closed her eyes. Is that I? Liko suddenly opened her eyes before her lips could met. She then stared at Ash's eyes and then looked back at Anne and Roy. Both with surprised expressions in their faces. Liko looked at Ash again as she let go off his hands and took a few steps away from him. What was I just about to do? She shouted to then cover her mouth. Liko. Ash stared at her until he came out of the surprise. I'm sorry, did I do something wrong? What? No, it was my fault. Liko said. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have tried to do that. But watch out. Liko shouted and Ash saw Molly and her driftblim flying at high speed towards their direction and they barely had time to duck and avoid them. Molly? Ash asked. Phew, that was close one, wasn't it? Liko asked, but Ash was suddenly rammed by Orla's Metagross, which took him away as it still followed Molly and her driftblim. So, Liko. Anne stared at her. Quite the interesting kink you got there. It's not what you think. Liko shouted out loud with a massive blush. Ash, Orla shouted. Hi there. He replied doing his best to not fall. Until Orla grabbed his wrists and pulled him up to then get him on top of her Metagross as well. What are you two doing? I'm trying to help this idiot. Orla shouted. You leave me alone. Molly shouted back while her driftblim flew higher. Like hell. Flash cannon. Orla ordered and her Metagross shot a silver beam from the X in his face, hitting right onto Molly's dry F-blim and knocking them out of the skies. You bitch. Molly shouted as she fell. Didn't think that through. Orla shouted. Koraidon. Ash shouted and released the dragon to then jump on his back. Koraidon quickly dashed in the air, caught Molly and her driftblim to then descend and leave them softly in the ground, with the chase ending in the outsides of the food festival. You guys okay? Ash asked. Yeah, thanks. Molly said as she stood up. Driftblim. FWSSSH. The balloon answered as it started floating again. He's okay. Molly said. Molly. Orla shouted while her Metagross landed in front of them. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Just what the hell is your problem? Molly shouted. What part of, this is a topic I'll leave to myself, wasn't clear enough. I don't want your help, Orla. Molly kept shouting. So for the love of God, stop making everything worse. But, just shut up. Molly continued. I swear is that. Molly looked up and Asha. ND Orla did the same to see a Skarmory soaring above them, with a woman flying on his back. Konya. You think, Orla was about to talk, but she was interrupted by a ring from her Rotom phone and S. He quickly pulled it out to then answer a video call. Yes, Orla, are you guys still in the food festival? Asked a purple-haired girl accompanied by a Gimmighoul. Yes, Molly and I are in the outskirts of it. Orla replied. We left your uncle in the stand. You remember the Terra Key tracker I've been working on, right? Asked. It's still experimental, but I think it spotted a signal at your northeast. Konya was flying in that exact direction. Molly said. Can't be a coincidence. Orla said. I'm still not done with you, but that key is priority here. Molly replied. We're on our way. Orla said. Great. I'll send you the exact coordinates. Said. Inform Uncle Murdoch too. I already told Captain, we'll go there to help as well. Very well. Orla said and cut the call to then quickly made another one. Orla and Molly are on their way, Cap. Said while talking to Freed through their Rotom phones. I'll send you the coordinates too, it seems like the explorers will also be there. There's no time to lose then. Fried replied, putting on his flying glasses while he took the helm of his ship, accompanied by an Alolan Raichu with a captain hat. A Garchomp and a red plumage squawkabilly on his shoulder. "Let's make this showy," he shouted, spinning the helm. Meanwhile, on top of the ship, Ludlow was simply sitting with his rod in hand, finishing between the clouds. "Terra keys?" Ash asked to Orla and Molly. "It's a long story," Orla replied, "but we could use some big guns like you until the rest of the crew arrives. How would you like to join us in a little treasure hunt so we can explain?" Ash glanced for a moment at Molly, who was avoiding eye contact with him. "You know what? I'm in. Show me the way. Let's do it. ORL. Ash shouted to then jump on top of her Metagross again and lead the way, while Ash followed her with Koraidon and Molly with her Drifblim. "Yeah, that's right. Come and get me." Konia smirked as she looked at the three following her. Meanwhile, with the girls, "Guys, I found Pikachu," Penny told the other in a group call. "He's in the east wing of the festival. On our way," Iono replied, and Penny cut the call. "Hey, Pikachu," Penny shouted, but the mouse seemed to ignore her as he smelled in the air to then jump to the roof of a stand and then start to jump from roof to roof. "Wait, where are you going?" Penny complained, to no avail, and she kept chasing Pikachu until she met with the other four girls. "You got him?" Iono asked. "I don't," Penny replied, pointing at Pikachu still jumping between roofs. "He isn't even listening to me. It kinda seems like he's looking for something," Dendra said. "But looking for what?" Nemona asked. "There's only one way to find out," Mela said, and the five girls continued to chase Pikachu until he finally landed in the floor to then jump inside a stand and land in the shoulder of a brown-haired woman accompanied by a Mr. Mime. "HMMP, thank you for bringing them here," she said to Pikachu. "And who are you supposed to be?" Mela asked while the five girls arrived to the stand. Gee guys," Penny stuttered while she pointed at the sign with the name of the stand. "Ketchum Family Restaurant." The five girls read in her mind and felt their blood freeze while the woman stared at them, expelling quite an intimidating aura. "Penny, Nemona, Iono, Dendra and Mela, right?" she asked in a slightly annoyed tone. "My name is Delia Ketchum, I'm Ash's mother." "I've never felt so scared in my life," Dendra whispered while she trembled. Nice to meet you all, I guess," Delia continued. "I actually wanted to talk with you all and I asked Pikachu to guide you here earlier. Listen, I don't tend to get in the way of my son's travels, I want to believe he's mature and responsible enough, but I've been watching those little videos that Dionysia here publishes. I thought I'd be a good way to keep track of him and see if he needed anything." That's very kind on your part, Mrs. Ketchum," Dendra said while still trembling. "Wait, who's Dionysia?" Nemona asked. Dionysia. "Hello," Penny said. "Yep, that's my real name," Iono said nervously. How did you know that, Mrs.? That's none of your business," Delia replied. "Wait, so Iono isn't your real name?" Mela asked. "You really think someone would actually name their child Iono?" Penny asked. "What kind of name is that?" "It's a name with spark, thank you," Iono said. "As I was saying," Delia got the girls' attention again. "I watched those videos. At first it was interesting to see how much fun you had and how your relation with Ash developed. He's always been close to his traveling partners, but there was something different about you all. Still, you know what caught my attention the most in your channel? Those little polls you make about your harem ending. With due respect, Mrs. Ketchum," Penny talked. "That's only a joke between Iono's fans and nothing more." "A joke, huh?" Delia asked. "Will you two tell her or should I?" she asked to Nemona and Iono, and Penny looked at the two girls as well. "Tell me what?" Penny asked. Well. Iono looked around for a moment. "Since we three like Ash so much and we've gotten to know each other quite a bit, Nemo and I have been talking and we've been considering to share Ash with you." "You what?" Penny shouted. Penny, please. Just think about it," Nemona said. "It'll be the perfect way to get things further with him while still keeping the team as it is." "Yeah, maybe Mela can join too," Iono said. "Don't you drag me into your cult," Mela shouted, blushing. What about me?" Dendra asked. "Sorry, but we have a no first kiss thieves sign nailed in the door," Iono shouted. "Nemo, Iono, what the hell are you thinking?" Penny shouted. That would never work. It can work, Nemona answered. We can make it work. Yeah, if Mrs. Ketchum is bringing it up, it must be because she thinks is a great idea, right? Iono asked to the mother. It's very nice to get your approbation. I bet you just can't wait to see your son surrounded by his loving wives so you can have a bunch of grandchildren. I'd appreciate it if you all kept silence for a moment. Delia sighed and the 5 girls stood in attention. Thanks. Now, as much as I want my Ash to finally have that special someone, this isn't the way. I saw those dates you had with him with some help of Mimi's barriers and I won't let you use my son like that, so I'll be as clear as I can with you 5, I want you all to stop traveling with Ash. Get away from him and never approach him again. Thanks for watching guys. Hope you all are enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like, share and subscribe. Also don't forget to support author of this fanfic. So let's end this video here. Until then, see you in next video.